live stream. And I didn't tell anyone I was doing the live stream at this time. I'm honestly just messing around to figure out how this works. I was going to say, it looks like we can't. There we go. We get a chat going. All right, we're going to back out of this, and then I'm going to look at some stuff and redo it. Oh, wait, hang on. There's some people logging on now. Okay. I was trying to figure out how to do this, and I was like looking at the questions beforehand, because I had a feeling that when I logged on to do the live stream, I wouldn't be able to go back and look at them, and I couldn't remember them all, and I don't have any paper in my car. So yeah, a couple of people logging on now. So we are in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale to be specific, and I'm in my car right now. I've been fishing all day, got clean, and now we are just trying to get our bearings and plan for the next day. So, well, there we go. I'm trying to make sure I can see all the comments here. I don't know what you guys can see because I've never done a live stream before. It's the first one. Hello. What's up, dude? What's your belt level in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I only do no-gi, so technically speaking, it's a white belt. A lot of instructors won't promote you unless you train the gi, and I just don't do that. Hello. Just ate salmon. That's a fish. It is, and man, it's good, and it's good for you. What is your favorite nature park in Southeast Texas? Got to go with Brazos Bend State Park just for nostalgia's sake. You've also been fishing all day. Did you get anything? Let me know. Just sitting in my seat. That's all I'm doing. I've been fishing all day and I'm beat. I'm so exhausted. What software do I use to edit my videos? I use Premiere Pro, the newest version of Premiere Pro. I'm trying to get this live chat to stay up. I really want to read these questions. I'm amazing. I don't know about that. Just dedicated. Been watching my videos all afternoon. Thank you so much. Have I ever played disc golf? No. And I can't think about disc golf without thinking about Andy Bernard from The Office. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Hi from Cincinnati. Hello. I've not been to Cincinnati, but I would like to go. Catching anything cool today? Yeah. I don't want to give away too much because obviously we're going to have lots of videos, but, all the exotics in Florida, that's what we've been after, and we've been doing good. You're in Tampa Bay. Well, hello. I was thinking about stopping by that way, but I don't think I have time. I have like one day left. God, I wish I could get this thing to stand up. We have a place in the Brazos with over half a mile of frontage if you want to fish it one day, possibly. Oh my God, so many people logging on now. What's a good place to catch mullet in Houston? Braised Bayou, downtown. Hello from El Paso. Hello, I was actually in El Paso a few weeks ago. The Mountain Lion film wasn't filmed in El Paso, but I drove through it. Big fan. I appreciate that. Have you ever been interested in fishing with golden shiners in Florida? I've had a hard time catching bait. I wanted to do mostly artificials while I was up here. I made the choice. I'm going to show you guys. My car is a mess right now. I took so much stuff. I had to make the decision what not to take, and I left the cast net. So not a whole lot of live bait fishing. Peacock bass content coming soon. I hope so. That's the one species I haven't caught yet. Awesome gar that you caught, and love that video. Thank you. That video made me. Would you ever do fishing live streams, or is that a safety issue? More of a concentration issue, honestly. I don't know if I could function, on the camera in a live stream. I'm struggling just to live stream sitting in my car. Ever thought about through hiking? I'm not sure what that is. Tell me what that is. Do you have to shave your head? No, not yet. Not 1,000 people have claimed their free bag of lures. Get on it. What part of Florida are you in? Fort Lauderdale. Hello from Laredo. Hello. I don't think I've been to Laredo. Do you bass fish? Yes. There was a period a few months ago where that was kind of like what I was hyper fixating on because it was easy to get to. I'm not saying bass fishing is easy, but where I am, it's easy to catch bass. So I stopped doing the bass fishing for a bit just because I didn't want to oversaturate the channel with that. Have you fished in Nassau Bay near Seabrook? It's a good body of water. I don't think I have. I've been through that area, but I didn't stop to fish there. What's up from San Antonio? Hello, love San Antonio. Lots of kind comments. PB bass, about 7 pounds. A respectable fish, but not a monster as far as bass go by any means. Through hiking is long distance hiking like the Lone Star Trail and Sam Houston National Forest. Yeah, no, that'd be fun, especially if I could get a video out of it. What's my favorite fish to catch? Got alligator gar. Although I would say the most fun I've ever had fishing was snakehead fishing with a guide. So being able to constantly, catch fish. PB redfish, about 45 inches. Do I speak Spanish? No, unfortunately not. I need to get better about kind of broadening the languages that I speak. And I say that like it's so easy. It's not. Turn the air off so you guys can hear me a little bit better. I made a pretty big effort to learn some Portuguese a few years ago. Naturally, I forgot all of it. Just trying to get the... Here we go. If I could fish for anything anywhere in the world, right now, probably I would go after the Wells catfish over in France, Spain, or Italy. That's the one that's on my brain. Any tips for a beginner gar fisherman? I'm used to catfish. Be very patient with them. And I have a video on how to catch alligator gar. Honestly, I'd recommend watching that because I go over, I think the hardest part for a lot of people is the hook set process. And I go over that in detail. Am I in Florida? Yes, Fort Lauderdale. Live stream fishing. I don't do a lot of live streams on purpose because, like, you'll notice, guys, there's 47 people on this live stream right now, as opposed to, the low end being 10,000 views on a video and the high end being in the millions. So generally speaking, when I catch something, I want to try to get as many views out of it as possible. What is the hardest fighting fish for me? Stingray that I caught. Blew my back out, and I'm still dealing with that injury to this day. That was over a year ago. Have I seen the massive red ear sunfish that have been caught at Lake Havasu in Arizona? Yes, I saw somebody post a video of one that was like 3 pounds, which is ridiculous. You're saying a 6 pound was caught. That's insane. I'm gonna have to check that out, maybe go there. Have I fished the Texas City Dike? Once, and it was in a thunderstorm, and I caught nothing. So, yeah, that didn't go to plan. Let's see. Do I ever go hunting? I have in the past. I will be going hunting soon, hopefully. It's not something I do often, mostly because I don't have access to any good land for it. But hopefully we're changing that soon. I am writing to you using the translator. I wanted to tell you that I always watch your videos. I am surprised by the fish in your city. You're sending me a hug. Thank you, Sauron Killer 11. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that. I'm not sure what language you're translating through, but I appreciate that effort. Thank you so much. Have I ever fished Sabine Pass? Yes, did moderately well. Hope one day you'll have a channel in Spanish. Yes, Beach Bomber Fishing and I were having a discussion about that, how there's not a whole lot of fishing channels that take advantage of that and extend their videos into Spanish. And he speaks fluent Spanish, obviously, so he can do that. But that's something we talked about. Have I hooked any peacock bass yet? Not yet. They are just giving me a run. I've caught a load of other good species, but no peacock bass yet. What's your music playlist looking like? A lot of Rolling Stones, like an unhealthy level of Rolling Stones music. Head mount or chest mount for fishing? What do I prefer? for the experience of the viewer, the head mount, for me to be able to control exactly what I can see on camera and get that perfect thumbnail, the chest mount. When is your next video coming out? I have one ready to go, not from Florida, from before I left, that I've been waiting on, because I'm going to be editing these videos for about a week, so I'll probably do it this weekend. I've caught a near 7-foot alligator gar in Clear Creek in Friendswood. You should check it out. I know Clear Creek, I fished a lot in Clear Creek in Pearland, where it's kind of narrow. I'm assuming it must widen out. 7-foot alligator gar, damn good fish. That's respectable by any standard. That's a beast. So really, really cool. All right. Oh, wow. So many questions here. I caught a near 7... Oh, I already just read that. Caught a saw guy with my free lures. Awesome. Yes. Thank you for picking up those lures. I'm glad they came in handy. I would love to catch a saw guy someday. Hello from Britain or England. You can fish for Wells catfish. Yes, in England as well. They don't grow quite as large, but they're respectable by any means. Yes, I would love to go to England. I would love to catch proper carp over there, and then the Wells catfish and pike as well. Try fishing with Spencer. Oh, from River Certified. Yeah, no, he's great. Collabs like that require a lot of work and a lot of planning. So possibly Joe Rogan shouted me out on his last podcast. I think you're probably joking. Definitely. I'm going to assume that's a joke. That would be pretty insane if he did that, though. I will be looking through it, though, just in case, but I'm assuming that's a joke. Hey from New Zealand. Hey, New Zealand. Watch another YouTuber catch Wells catfish. That looks right up your alley. Yes. God, I cannot remember the guy's name who does it. Yuri Gergensen. Yuri Gergensen has insane social media. He does TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. He catches the most incredible Wells catfish. There's not an unhealthy amount of Rolling Stones. Yeah, well, okay, I agree with you on that one. Especially the early stuff. I love all their stuff, but I really love that early stuff. More people in here share the stream. Yes, please. Can you say hi to my friend Jorge? He's a huge fan of yours. Hello, how are you doing, man? I'm 15, so I was freaking out, and it took me for a ride. I don't... Oh, are you the one who caught the 7-foot alligator gar? Yeah, I'm trying to find out what the last comment was in context with that, but that would make sense. Yeah, I can imagine. I've caught smaller. I've caught obviously the famous one, but I've caught alligator gar that were just under 7 feet as well, and they gave me a run for my money physically. So yeah, I can imagine a 7-footer would do that. Hello from Nebraska. Hello. Are there any unchannelized, non-concreted bayous left in Houston? Yeah, I mean, enormous stretches of Buffalo Bayou, Sims Bayou, even Brays Bayou. A lot of it hasn't been lined with concrete yet. Greens Bayou. Where's a good spot for big bass in Houston? Ooh, I may not be the good person to ask for that. A lot of the ponds in Sugarland off of Highway 6 have decent bass. I can't say they're gigantic. I think somebody asked me earlier what my PB was, 7 pounds. That's the general area of where I caught it. And if you're interested, I have all the information about that area mapped out in detail on my Patreon. Brays or Buffalo Bayou, depends on what I'm trying to do. But for alligator gar, Buffalo Bayou. Have I fished with Thai Pig Patrol? No, I have not. What's your dream fish to catch? Right now, it would probably be the Wells catfish. Favorite Rolling Stones album? Oh, God. Those are all good choices. I can't say, I don't know if I have a favorite. Can you shout out my Honduran friend, Verga? Is that correct? Vera Larga? If I say that wrong, please correct me. It's one of the things I always try to really focus on as a sign of respect. Get people's names right. Vera Larga. Hello, how are you doing? Big shout out. Hey from Nebraska. I live up in Massachusetts. Have you ever fished in the Northeast? Does New York count? I just went to New York. Caught some carp in Central Park. Have I heard of Zach Bryan? It doesn't ring a bell. That doesn't mean I haven't heard of it. It just means that I can't remember it. Caught a 4-foot, oh dang, a 4-foot flathead catfish, and you're only 12. Well, you got me beat. I think my biggest is right under 50 pounds, and it would be about 4 feet long. So wow. Favorite eating fish, flounder, easily. New York counts. Good. Yes. Okay. So there's a carp fishing video. I think it's titled something about catching fish in the most famous place on earth. Oh, when am I coming to Brazil? Man, not soon enough. Not soon enough. I want to fish Brazil. I want to roll in some of the jiu-jitsu schools down there. I want to meet Andre Pederneiras so bad. Yeah. I think Andre Pederneiras, he might have moved his school to Florida. A lot of guys, maybe actually pretty close to him right now, a lot of guys from Brazil have moved to Florida. Yeah, no, Brazil, dream. It's a dream. The next Jeremy Wade. I don't know about that, but to be fair, Jeremy Wade didn't get a start until he was like in his mid-40s, so I still have a good amount of time. Ever have a viewer recognize you in person or while fishing? Yeah, it actually happens a lot. Surprisingly, it shocks me every time, but it does happen. Do I recommend catching gar with bluegill? You're having trouble with mullet and buffalo for bait in League City. Typically speaking, when I use bluegill, I'm more likely to catch catfish. What I find is that just the chance of catching flathead goes up, and the blues love bluegill. You could definitely give it a try, but in my experience, dead baiting with mullet, tilapia, and buffalo has always been the hotter ticket. Favorite bar in Houston? I don't go to bars. I do drink whiskey, but I drink it at home usually. Hello from Plaquemines, from Louisiana. Hello, I love Louisiana. Great fan here, thank you. Hi, hello. Keep getting this weird, like, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. I don't know if that's for you guys or for me, but it keeps coming up. What's the best bait for flatheads in gar? For flathead, it's live anything, really. Live bluegill, live tilapia. For gar, my personal favorite is mullet, but buffalo and tilapia work really well. Probably mullet, tilapia, buffalo, carp in that order. Any offshore fishing in Florida? Not this time. The whole point of this trip was that I wanted to do this car camping video. So I have a product that was sent to me that I'm basing this big video around. A sponsor sent to me. So part of the product review involves me doing kind of like a car camping video. So I'm trying to combine that idea with not spending any money. So no, I'm not going offshore fishing this time. Will you come to Ireland and help me catch a monster pike? I've never caught a pike. You're probably better at it than me, but I would love to go to Ireland. My wife is Irish, so you should try it. I say she's Irish. She's Irish the same way I'm French. You should try and collaborate with Carl. Oh, God. Yeah, in all seriousness, I am putting together a proposal for him, for a Carl, formerly from Carl and Alex. Now the channel is Fish with Carl because his brother Alex is doing his own channel, which is also fantastic. But yeah, I'm actually working on that idea. Do me a favor and delete Kubrickian. He just made you say something in a what? He made you say something inappropriate. Did I say something inappropriate? I don't think I did. Unless you're reading into something I said. Also, if I'm the one who said it, I'm not going to delete somebody else. Anyway, I second the Jeremy Wade comment. I appreciate that. I have one fish on par with the things that he has done. A lot of work to go. Hi from Houston. Hey, H-Town, my hometown. Quick question for you. Do you know anywhere near the Willowbrook area to catch a decent-sized fish? Willowbrook. The only time I ever go up that way, honestly, is to go to the Willowbrook Mall. I, I'm trying to picture in my head where it is, that area. Give me more specifics. What's the nearest bayou from there? If you ever want to catch wolf fish, I know the best spot in Guyana. Oh my God, that would be incredible. By wolf fish, I mean, I assume, do you mean, because there's wolf fish, often called the wolf eel, and then there's the, what is that one fish called? There's two very similar but very different fish that often go by that name. I just spent the last 45 minutes. Okay. You get to go in a timeout. If I'm not mistaken, you fished for bowfin on your channel. Yes. Will you target them more in the future? I'll try. Bowfin are very subtle and they're hard to come by. But yes, I will go for them again. Hi from Durham, North Carolina. Hello. Pasadena. Hello. White Oak goes by Willowbrook. Yes. If you look at White Oak Bayou, follow it from there's a where White Oak meets Buffalo Bayou. Follow it back from there north, just maybe a few hundred yards, and there's an offshoot, massive carp and pretty good sized gar and tilapia in there. Ever fish White Oak Bayou, and is there any success? I did actually try to film a video on White Oak Bayou, and by chance ran into a biologist who was doing water quality samples, and he said that there's, for some reason, an incredibly low amount of oxygen in White Oak Bayou, and that there's not nearly as many fish in that area, which is quite interesting. I haven't been back since then. There's an offshoot of White Oak Bayou that I like quite a bit. Ever fished near Addicks Reservoir? I have. I just can't remember it. Oh wait, no. I've done a lot of castnet videos around the Addicks Reservoir. Here from New Jersey. Any striped bass in your area? Yes, there's striped bass in some of the lakes. There's a lot more hybrid bass. They're easier to find, but yeah, amazing fish. He said to shout out his Honduran friend. Oh, got it. Well, don't worry. We just put that guy in a timeout. What is your favorite fish to catch? Got to be the alligator gar. This wouldn't be a live stream if somebody didn't come on here and act like an idiot. I mean, that's just part of the process. If you've got nothing better to do, you know. What's up from Corpus Christi? Started watching your videos this past month now. I'm trying to catch a gar in our creeks and lake. No luck, but love the channel. Yeah, I mean, there's gar down that way. You can find good-sized gar all throughout the lower half of Texas. I would recommend trying the Colorado River. There's some big gar in there. Have you been to Tyler, Texas? Yes, but only to visit the Caldwell Zoo, which I dearly love. Hey, from Deer Park. Granddad used to pull 65-pound cats out of the San Jacinto River. Yeah, I believe it. Probably still some of that size down there somewhere. Besides the gar, what's the dream river monster? Right now, it's the Wells catfish. Appreciate your help. Anywhere in the spring area do I suggest? Unfortunately, no, because it's such a horrific drive between Sugar Land and Spring. That I often don't go up that way. I've done a few videos up there. Some of the, I think there's like a creek fishing video where I had to like get in the water to catch like a really good bullhead. But apart from that, I haven't done a lot of fishing up near Spring. Everything from traveling up to Lake Conroe for huge catfish. Yes, I'm going to charter a guide for that pretty soon. what happened with the PC Fund sponsorship. Just businesses come, businesses go. There's not a dramatic answer. Sometimes you work with people, sometimes you don't. I mean, I still use their gear. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. Try doing some fish traps. I'll look into that. Those types of videos either do amazing or terrible. So I have to figure out the way to get them in the algorithm. Am I getting into kayak fishing? I've done kayak fishing on the channel before. It's just it takes a lot for me to drive out because I don't have the kayak at my house. I have it at my family's house. So it's a big ordeal to go get it. But I did some kayak fishing in Florida. If you guys can see the strap above my head here, that's a kayak on top of my car. So there's going to be some kayak fishing from this Florida trip. If I had the opportunity to collaborate with Jeremy Wade, what would I go fishing for? That's a tough one. I'd honestly just want to hear him talk. I just want to hear him tell me everything about what he does. So probably, I mean, got to go classic. Jeremy Wade, Arapaima. Got to go with that one. Hey, from Dallas, just got my GAR set up recently because of you. Awesome, man. You're in the best place to get them. What's your opinion on live scope? People seem to be catching teener-sized bass on that kind of technology. I have no idea what live scope is. I don't know what that is. Have you tried fishing in the Trinity River? Yes. I don't generally say where I am in a lot of the GAR videos I do, but some of my really big fish that I've caught are on that river. Hey, from New Hampshire, wish we had GAR up here. Yeah, and they're an amazing fish. They used to be all throughout the United States. What is it called? Champ, Lake Champlain. That monster story is based on an alligator gar. The Native Americans up there had a word for it, and they very clearly described an alligator gar. And then through mistranslations and people being over dramatic, they just said, like, they muddied the water on purpose. And they're like, oh, the Native Americans are describing this large creature. And it's like, no, it's very obviously an alligator gar. They used to live up in their area, and now they don't. And that is where the whole mythos behind the Lake Champlain monster comes from. Greetings from Brenham. Have I ever fished for alligator gar in the Brazos in this area? I'm trying to think of where Brenham is. I have fished quite a lot of the Brazos. I won't say exactly what locations I fish for gar. I try to keep that on the down low a little bit, just because when you catch a tremendous gar, honestly, anything over 6 feet gets people's attention. People start trying to find it, and a lot of people will just kill it. So I don't usually say exactly where I'm at. What's the best setup for gar and catfish? Well, two different species, and then different types of catfish behave differently. I can speak to gar a little bit better. You want a durable, if you're going spinning reel, something durable with a lot of line capacity and a good drag and a consistent drag, like a Daiwa BG 6500. If you're going with a multiplier reel, the PC Fun, I can't remember, what are those ones called? I can't remember what they're called now. They have a reel. Anyway, I can't remember what that reel is called, but, and then get a good solid rod like the Denali bottom feeders or the catfish rods, big heavy catfish rods. And then I like to go 80 to 100 pound Suffolk braid with a FG knot to 100 pound monofilament. In case the fish tries to go down into any snags or anything like that, the braid won't cut or embed in the wood. And then straight down to 90 to 130 pound wire and a big circle hook, which is this question right here: circle hook or treble for alligator gar? Circle hooks. You have to go with circle hooks. The treble hooks will kill those fish. And with the circle hook, you don't have to do any kind of like deep diving to get it out. Again, watch that video I did on how to catch an alligator gar. I go over the specifics of how to modify the circle hook and how to set it in such a way that you catch the gar about here, and you can easily get the circle hook back out. It's like a cross between a J hook method and a circle hook method. I've never seen anyone else do it exactly. But I have full faith that that's going to be the future of alligator gar fishing. I have a location on Sam Rayburn. Oh, Sam Rayburn's great. I could share with you that holds lots of big gar. It's right near a boat ramp, so it's easy to access. Well, hit me up on Instagram at Really Wildlife. They spin and can tear what's in their mouth apart. I don't know what we're talking about, but a lot of fish sure can. So, catch and kill, yes, they do. Are you arguing with someone in the comments, or did I miss part of your question? I don't know. Hello from Houston. What's up? Where's a good place near Katy to catch carp? All of it. If you guys, again, if you want specifics, I put really specific things for certain fish in the Patreon. A lot of work goes into that. It's not just, oh, go here. Like literally, like I have like massive essays on where I get the fish, how to fish the area, diagrams that I've drawn, photographs that I've taken and like noted on or annotated. So like, if you really want to know specifics on stuff, a lot of it's on the Patreon. Did you know that largemouth will sometimes eat dead bait? I've had it happen to me one time before, but I feel like that's because it was during nighttime. Yeah, I've got a couple on cut bait. It's very rare that it happens to me, but I've seen it. Ever fish on the Brazos and FM 529? Possibly. Yeah, 3-pounder on chicken nugget. I believe it. Will I be leaving this live stream on the channel? Probably. I wouldn't see a point of doing it and then taking it off. Ever catch a paddlefish? No, but I would love to. Would love to witness one of those incredible animals. Is it too cold for gar right now? I don't know what the temp. I'm in Florida, so the temperature is like insanely hot here. It's like in the 80s. Did I lose the live chat? There it is. Probably not. One of the best fish I ever caught was an alligator gar that I caught on Christmas Day, or actually the day before Christmas Eve, I think. So you just got to know where to go. Agreed. Too many people catch gar just to kill them. Yes, it's sad. It's very unfortunate. If you want to send me the message for something, hit me up on Instagram, because I may not be able to find you necessarily, and you can't do private message on YouTube anymore. I'm in Florida. I can put you on some excellent fish. Have you got any snook, tarpon, and kings? How the fishing going for you? I don't give away the things that I've done so far because it'll kind of ruin the anticipation of the video. But catching good fish, I'll say that. Sounds like me catching otters at night on dead bait. Well, you don't want to catch otters, that's for sure. If there's an animal I would not want to mess around with, it'd be an otter. What's the best season to catch alligator gar? Oh, the summer. Late spring, actually. To be specific, late spring is the best, in my opinion. Do you think it's possible to catch gar on a fly rod? Yes. I know it's been done. It's not really my style, but if you can find an area where they're feeding heavily on top water, you could absolutely do it. Try to do a weird bait challenge. Yeah, I could try to do that. Great to hear. Going backwater fishing or offshore. Can't wait for the video. It's been mostly freshwater. I'm going to try to get some salt or brackish water fishing in. Probably tomorrow or the next day. I feel like some people will just eat any fish they catch and they won't participate in conservation. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's true. A lot of people, it's a whole big topic to get into, but a lot of people are like opposed to the very notion of doing anything involving conservation, which is very sad. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, a lot of people will just indiscriminately kill and eat anything they catch. best gar baits. My personal preferences, and you got to remember, a lot of this is based upon time of year, where you're fishing, the specific baits the fish in your area are eating. But for me, it is mullet, tilapia, carp, and buffalo. Any plans to come fish the lower Laguna Madre? Yes, 100%. That is in the plans. Just eat the invasives. That we've been doing that actually. Lots of catch and cooks coming to the other food channel and the Patreon. Oh, the otter hold the hook and still the bait. Okay. Well, at least they're not getting hooked. Because honestly, you'd probably be worse off for it than the otter. Otters are just pound for pound. They are just the man. If I had a short list of animals I would never want to tangle with, the otters would be on it. What subject do we need to label our emails sent to you to get a response or an acknowledgement? I've never been responded to via email or Instagram. Oh, I apologize for that. As far as emails go, it depends on what the subject of the email is. Some do get sent over to spam and have to hunt for them and stuff, which is unfortunate. Generally speaking, I try never to use the email as like a chat. I'd have to go back and look to see what you sent me. Usually I try to conduct business on the email. But Instagram, yeah, I'll look for the message you sent. I apologize for never responding in any fashion. I get a lot. I get so many messages, so some of them slip through the cracks. I remember the other day, somebody sent me a message, and I was like, oh, I really want to respond to that one. And I went and I started going through like message after message after message, and I could never find it. So if you've never seen me respond to one of your messages, it's very possible that it just got buried in other people's messages, and I couldn't find it when I went back for it. Freshwater drum is a great alligator gar bait. Yeah, you know, I believe it. Me personally, in my personal experience where I was, and at the time I was trying to use it, couldn't get them to take. But I can definitely see it working well. Well, Live, do you think there's any bull sharks in the rivers in southeast Texas? Yes, I do. One of my big goals on YouTube is to be the first guy to catch one in downtown Houston, because I know they're there. I've talked to people who have seen them, that reliable sources have seen them. What's the biggest buffalo fish I've caught? Probably like 10 pounds, not too big. What's my favorite snack when I'm out fishing? Let me see. I try not to eat too much when I'm fishing. I like to just stay hyper focused on what I'm doing. I take a lot of water, obviously. You know, I think you focus a little bit better when you're not full. You know, I don't want to be like the bro Rogan, you know, like our ancient selves, like all that nonsense, the Liver King BS. But I do believe that you tend to focus a little bit better when you're just a tiny bit hungry. So I drink a lot of water. I don't eat snacks when I'm fishing. I did eat a whole lot of snacks when I was driving, though. And my wife got me these chocolate-coated honeycomb wafers, and they are the best thing I ever had in my life. Try to catch a bull shark on the fly rod. Oh my god. I have to get a big fly rod. What is the fish you want to catch for the year? There's a lot of fish I want to catch. Do I have one that's like the plan for 2023, like the big target? Let me think about that. It's interesting because I climbed to the top of the mountain on my favorite fish. So, you know, it kind of opens up a lot of possibilities on, like, you know, what do we want to do next? Realistically speaking, man, I would like to try to get some really good saltwater fish. I've never caught a tarpon. I would love to try to get a tarpon. I've heard of dolphins in Buffalo Bayou. Definitely possible that they move in and out of there. How's my back feeling? Much better. It still hurts. I've got like one of those lidocaine, like icy hot patches on it right now. trying to maneuver in such a way that I'm not putting a lot of stress on my lower back. What podcasts do I listen to? Not a whole lot of podcasts, honestly. I guess Jack. I hope you aren't live streaming and driving. No, we're parked. My favorite fishing channels on YouTube. That's a good one. The big three: Cavi, Brooksy, Briggsy, Fish with Carl, which formerly Carl and Alex. I'm trying to think what else. I actually don't watch a whole lot of fishing channels on YouTube. I have a load of YouTube channels that I love. Only like 5 or 6 of them are fishing channels. So I would say those are the top 4. Do I eat fish caught from the Houston area? No, I do not. Just disgusting water. I mean, when you can smell the chemicals in the water by standing near it, you probably don't want to eat fish out of there. Try Goliath grouper. If you mean eating it, can you? I don't think you can. I don't think you can harvest them. But if you mean catching them, which I'm assuming that's probably what you meant, yes, that is another fish I would love to catch. Probably have to do a big upgrade in gear, though, if I was to catch a really good one. You can catch alligator gar, even gigantic alligator gar, on relatively inexpensive tackle, but a Goliath grouper is a different ballpark, and they will wreck your gear if you're not properly set up. So I'd have to get some really nice stuff. No, I'm not going to try alligator gar. I'm 100% catch and release oriented with alligator gar. Ever think of having a cameraman and an editor? No, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I love to edit my own stuff. The editing aspect of this process is one of my favorite things. I like the rhythm and the look that I see in my head. I don't want somebody else controlling that. Same thing with camera work. I like the filming aspect of doing this more than I like the fishing aspect of doing this. It's the filmmaking that is my favorite part of being a YouTuber, not the fishing. I love getting to spend time on the camera and the editing. Also, when you think about it, especially in the position that I'm in now, where this is my job and I have to do this constantly, to have somebody who would do it constantly with me and edit for me, that's an employee. And I just can't afford to have an employee. I make a decent amount of money doing this. I mean, I make more than I have in other full-time jobs, but I cannot afford to have somebody work for me doing that. Psych Toad, man, you're late. 40 minutes in, just now showing up. I knew you'd be here, though. If you're ever near Maryland and the Chesapeake Bay, try the outlet for the power plant by the 301 bridge. There, I just screenshot that. What's up, man? Psych Toad chiming in. Try going to the oil rigs and catching a bunch of pelagic stuff. Yeah, I would. I'd have to charter. I'd have to do a charter for that, and that can be a bit pricey. But I definitely want to really bad. Again, when you climb to the top of the mountain in fresh water in Texas, you kind of want to start expanding to other areas, and I really want to catch more saltwater fish on this channel. There's this interesting thing that happens where I get hundreds of people asking me to do saltwater fishing, and then I do it and nobody watches those videos. So I don't know what it is, but I need to find a medium between really algorithm friendly stuff and saltwater videos, and I think catching some big to it. But again, you have to balance the return rate for stuff. So I'd have to be fairly confident that if I spent $600-700, whatever it costs to do an offshore charter, I'm going to make that money back with the videos I'm going to produce, or at the very least, it needs to be worth it in some way. So a lot of planning goes into that aspect of it. You would say the chemicals in flow, I want to read that one, are extremely bad because they're ruining our fisheries and they kill all the aquatic vegetation they touch. I don't know what chemicals you're talking about specifically. Definitely that's something that is possible, probably probable, but those are specifics. So maybe if you could send me some links to specific studies that support that, I would be interested to know, especially considering I just ate some fish I caught. Do I still go to a boxing gym? Yeah, still train Muay Thai, still train boxing. Kind of actually the last couple of weeks, that's all I've been doing is boxing because of my back. I can only throw a jab, a left hook, and an uppercut with my left hand. So I've just been doing combinations with my coach. Have I thought of rebranding your YouTube channel from wildlife to something else? No, I've been very successful with the wildlife label. I've been interviewed all over, the world, or publications all over the world that referred to me by that name. So I don't want to change it now. I think it works well. I don't think changing the name of your YouTube channel is a very good idea. I think the algorithm would not like that. And I think people know me as wildlife. I mean, I get recognized in public. People are like, "You're wildlife." Again, it feels weird when that happens, but the brand works. Try ice fishing. I would love to. I hate the cold, but I would brave the cold for ice fishing. I'm driving home, almost there. Well, be safe. What are you texting? Why are you writing on your phone when you're driving? Don't do that. Don't do that. Pollution from when they're dumped in rivers around America. Yeah. I mean, that happens. But whenever you make a specific claim, like the chemicals that are being dumped in the water in Florida are killing all the plants that they touch, like that's a very specific claim. It's very likely to be true. I'm not saying you're not correct. It's just I would like to see the reports on that to learn more about it. There's a very general statement that has an air of truth to it versus an actual, this report details this occurrence. The latter being far better for educating yourself on any given topic, which I would like to do. If you really want to catch some monsters, I could put you in contact with some fishing guys in Guatemala. It's a little expensive, but definitely worth it. Message me on Instagram because I'm looking to do an out of country trip. Maybe that'll be the first one. We'll see. Catfish with 3 eyes or extra fins. No, I have not caught the Simpsons fish yet. All right. I take my son fishing, and saltwater fishing is our favorite. We enjoy watching your videos together. I appreciate that. Saltwater fishing is so exciting because it's just this massive mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get out of it. So many opportunities. And, one day you could catch, a whiting, and then you could throw out the same exact bait and catch a massive fish. Thanks for your work. I started fishing again because I found your channel been catching small stuff near my home. Hey, there's nothing wrong with catching small fish. Small fish are great. I'm really glad that the show got you out there again. Another similar comment I made, you start fishing. I'm really glad to hear that. Fishing is good. It's good for you. As long as it's done with the proper approach, I think it's incredibly beneficial. What's up, brother? I love your channel. I've learned so much about gar fishing in the last 2 years. My PB is somewhere around 50 pounds. That's a very respectable fish. Very good fish. Yes, hardheads. Man, they are... you cast any bait into the ocean, they're going to be the first thing to get to it. You have to fish through the hardheads, basically, to catch anything else, especially in Texas. Oh, and you're up in Dallas. 50-pound gar is your PB, and you're up near Dallas. Well, there's certainly some bigger ones out there. You'll get them. Greetings, wildlife. Have a great trip. Love your energy. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love your energy. Ever think about creating a channel's Discord where people can interact and be in voice chats with possibly me? Could possibly bring more community between the longtime viewers. Yeah, I have thought about that. I'm putting some stuff together for things like that. Whoa. Would I say that Texas is one of the top cities to fish? Or would I like cities further up north? Texas is my favorite place to fish because my favorite fish is the alligator gar. Also, we have an incredible saltwater scene as well. Um, Texas really has an enormous variety of fish, in addition to having one of the largest species of freshwater fish in the world. I think alligator gar is somewhere near the top 10 or in the top 10 largest pure freshwater fish in the world. We have tremendous catfishing. We have a tremendous saltwater scene. So, yeah, Texas has got to be my favorite place to fish. I mean, I love Florida. Don't get me wrong. Florida's been exciting, but, I've been here for 3 days fishing every single hour of every single day. I've seen one gar, and it was tiny. Have I fished for red snapper? No, but I want to. Hi, 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 hi. That's like 4 comments that all say hi with like 5 eyes. Hello. Ever had any crazy encounters while fishing in Houston? If you mean people, yeah, kind of crazy. I try not to film other people when I have weird encounters with them because that escalates the situation. People do not like to be filmed, and generally speaking, I want to de-escalate tense situations. So I tend not to have my camera on when I get approached. Have I been approached by Nat Geo or Discovery Channel about a show? I'd be a great host. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, Nat Geo and the Discovery Channel. The whole TV business as a whole is almost entirely about who you know, more so than almost any other business. It is remarkably difficult to get on television, which is one of the reasons I started a YouTube channel. I used to want to be on television, but YouTube doesn't require you to know an executive producer somewhere that can get you in touch with someone else. Who can get you a screen test to see if maybe you're good for a show, and you don't get that show, but they call you 2 years later and they're like, we think you'd be good for this other show. Like, that's how that business works. It's incredibly difficult to get into TV, more so than probably any other business. Try going whales catfishing. 70-pounder you caught in Spain. Yes, that's the dream. I want to do that so bad. How much money do I make off of YouTube? $1 million a day. which is why I drive the used Jeep Patriot. Thanks for doing the live stream. It's fun, and I have to answer a lot of questions. Yeah, I wish I could find a way to keep this chat up. It keeps trying to fade away. It's annoying. Haven't caught any gar out of Houston, Texas. You've only caught bass and catfish on my pole. What bait would I say is best for them? Again, my lineup: mullet. And I mean big mullet. Like, get yourself a 12, 13-inch mullet. Use 2/3 of it. Just make sure you're doing it in that time of year where it's not, there's like a 12-inch max in like December. But yeah, mullet, tilapia, carp, buffalo. Yeah, Psychic Toad chiming in. Tilapia, carp, shad. Shad worked good too. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you how much money I make. Also, it changes all the time. I'll just tell you that. As much freedom as YouTube gives you, and it's amazing. I would not trade this for anything I've done before. And I've done some incredible things before, even working for a zoo, which is just one of the most incredible experiences of my life. Over the course of, almost a decade, I would do this. I mean, that prepared me for this. Like, the professional training that I was able to acquire is one of the reasons I'm able to do like a wildlife presentation job, basically. I have a professional background as a conservation, educator in a professional zoo, or in a accredited zoo. So that kind of like prepared me for this part of my career, but I would not give this up for anything, even if it was like to go back, wouldn't do it. But what was the original point? Oh yeah, the amount you get paid on YouTube fluctuates all the time. 1 month could be great, 1 month it could be terrible. It's a price you pay. Would I consider myself more of a fisherman or a filmmaker? The answer to that question is 2-part. It's easy and it's difficult. So the answer would be filmmaker. I love the filmmaking aspect more than the fishing. I really do. I love fish, don't get me wrong. I love them as animals. That's the thing, though. If there was a way to film alligator gar without catching them, I'd do it, honestly. I use fishing as a method of getting these animals on camera, because unlike a lot of other animals, you can't film them in the water, especially in Texas, like in murky environments, fresh water. Think about all the TV programs you've seen. How many of them feature freshwater fish? Not many. And the ones that do are largely because of river monsters, which was started specifically because of the logic that I was just going over. He wanted to show animals on camera that you can't film in the wild under the water, so he caught them. So yeah, filmmaker, I would say I love the filmmaking aspect the most. Fishing is just the method to get them on film. Halibut fishing, oh my god, I would love to do that. That's the problem I face. There's so many things I want to do, but halibut would be incredible. Ever thought about reaching out to other large fishing YouTubers for collaborations? Kind of. Here's the thing about collaborations on YouTube, just from a statistical standpoint. Your channel does not really benefit from doing collaborations unless the channel you're collaborating with is significantly bigger than yours, and that is true across genres. Whether it's fishing or do-it-yourself videos, sports videos. Generally speaking, collaborations don't produce a whole lot of you don't get a lot out of it unless the channel you're collaborating with is tremendously larger than you are. So there's that aspect. There's a lot that goes into collaborations. They're a lot of work. There are a few people I want to work with, but I'm working on those plans right now. If I fished Brazos Bend State Park, and would I recommend it? I have fished it. I would not recommend it. It's very busy. It's heavily fished by recreational fishermen. I mean, it's a very healthy, thriving environment, but the fish know you're there. There's not going to be any monsters. And the alligators have figured out that when you catch a fish, they can steal it from you. So 99% of your time in Brazos Bend State Park, you're going to be catching, moderate catfish, and the alligators are just going to rip them off your line. So yeah. Would I rather ocean fishing or freshwater fishing? Freshwater. I love freshwater. I do want to do more ocean fishing, but freshwater is what I'm about. So you came over here to New Orleans, yes, to fish the Six Flags. I did. That was one of my favorite videos I've ever made. Performance-wise, it hasn't done that well. I'm going to adjust a couple of things to get the performance up. But as far as videos go, that's the thing. You guys probably think, or a lot of people might think, I don't want to think on your behalf. A lot of people think that naturally, your favorite videos are the ones that do the best, and the ones that do terrible you don't care for, and that's honestly not true. A lot of the times videos that I don't particularly like do incredibly well, and then videos that I put my heart and soul into and take the time to film the way I want, they just don't pan out. The theme park one, the Six Flags one, is one of my favorite videos I've ever done. Favorite lure for largemouth bass fishing? I like soft plastics with underspins. How many hours go into producing new content? It depends largely on what I'm doing. I've gotten to the point now where the editing is quick. Generally speaking, that process, it takes a lot of people a lot of time to edit. I find it comes very naturally. I love editing. You get into a rhythm and it just flows. I find it's very important to do it all in one sitting. Otherwise, you lose that sense of rhythm that you get into when you're editing your film. But sometimes getting the content can take a long time. A good 12-hour day of fishing before you even start to edit. And that might just be for one fish. Any encounters with animals while fishing? Well, yeah, I've been attacked. Not all of it happens on camera, but I've been attacked by an alligator once. I walked into a mountain lion in one of my last videos. And when I say walked into, I mean I walked around my car and it was right in front of me. And we both freaked out and it ran away and I ran back in the car. Long time ago, years ago, I had to climb a tree because I was getting chased by a feral pig. That was fun. Any sponsors? Yeah, I'm working with a lot of groups right now. The video I'm doing right now is for a product. I got sent something very, very nice for this video and something completely different and also incredibly nice for another video I'm going to make after this when I get home. So I'm not at the moment, I don't have any sponsors. I'm sponsored by Shimano. Although I love that. Shimano, if you're listening, hit me up. But I have a lot of companies that are working with me right now to send me incredible products that I really do enjoy. All right, sent me the info to my Instagram. I just got those messages a moment ago. I'll have a look at them when I'm out of here. A lot of YouTubers are trying to do boxing matches. Would I consider it? Um, well, here's the deal. I can actually box. I have a mixed martial arts background, and boxing is a big part of that. I've been doing it longer than I've been fishing. A lot of people, they think what they see of you on the internet is your identity, and that's the entirety of you as a person. I've been a martial artist much longer than I've been fishing, and if I had to choose between the two, I'd choose martial arts every time without even thinking about it. So I can box decently well. But it's not just any YouTuber. Like if I call out Jake Paul, he's not gonna know I exist. He's he's never gonna hear about it because he's super famous and I'm not. It's people like KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. These guys who are like super famous are the ones who are doing this stuff, not people like me. So yeah, I mean, hey, Jake Paul, you want some? Come get some. He's pretty damn good, though. I'll say Jake Paul, might be the most annoying YouTuber on the planet, and it might be hard to admit, but kid, kid can fight. He can fight. He's honestly, if he just wanted to dedicate himself to going pro, he'd do right well for himself, I think. What fish do you like to catch the most? Alligator gar. Ever think about re-uploading videos from years back? Well, everything that I've filmed, I've uploaded. So I didn't film myself fishing originally when I first started. So the day I started filming it, I started uploading. So I don't think there are any videos from years back that are just gone or missing. Can I catch a big gar in 3 feet of water? You certainly can. Your boss owns Megaton Brewery in Kingwood. He wants to have you to meet and greet there. Any interest? Sure. Have him send me the contact info. My email, wildlifefishingshow@gmail.com. That's interesting. I've never been to a brewery before. Do they just do beer? Or do they what do they brew there? I'm more of a whiskey guy, but breweries in general, the science that goes into that is incredible. So specific. Really neat. Do I use circle hooks? Yes. For alligator gar, exclusively circle hooks. Unless I'm catching alligator gar that are under the 4-foot mark, because then you can treble hook them through their jaw so they don't have to swallow it. It's like a lure. You can just get it out of the end of their jaw. But for big gar, yes, circle hooks only. I should fight I should fight MDLR main event. I don't know. MDLR was a Marine. He'd probably pull out a combat knife out of nowhere, get me with it. I think he was a Marine. If I got that incorrect, I apologize. I'm pretty sure Mark was in the Marines. He was definitely in the service. Dangling with Dev and Yak Pack are both fishing YouTubers, and they have mentioned they would consider boxing. I'm sure they mentioned they would consider boxing, but if they're not big deals on YouTube, like Jake Paul level big deals, nobody's going to want to box them. That's the whole point. Jake Paul is getting these boxing matches because he's super famous. Floyd Mayweather boxed Logan Paul because he's super. How much money can you make the promoter? And I can box. I can box. But nobody knows who I am. Nobody. I mean, you guys know who I am. 118,000 people subscribe to my show. That's a joke compared to what it takes to make money back for a promoter. They wouldn't blink an eye. If they heard my name, they wouldn't blink an eye. Whereas someone who is super famous, if Aziz Ansari or Billy Eichner, or I'm trying to think of somebody who's more famous than them, but somebody who's a good example of someone who couldn't box to save their life. If one of the Kardashians wanted to do a boxing match against Clarissa Shields, it would make $100 billion. They would let it happen. She would get knocked the hell out in 10 seconds, and it would be the biggest pay-per-view of all time. Can they box? No. Despite the fact that, Caitlyn Jenner is one of the greatest Olympians of all time. No, none of them can box, but it's about the name. It's not about whether or not you can box. I know guys who can, just amazing boxers, really, really good pros. And not even they will get invited to these types of events. And they're actual professional boxers. It's about the name. Let's see. Oh, like re-upload old videos. Okay, you're clarifying. Re-upload the old videos to try to get the numbers of my modern audience. Yeah, the problem with that is that once I uploaded those videos, I just deleted them, like the hard drive, because I didn't have the space for it. So those videos they're gone. Like that, they don't exist anymore outside of the YouTube upload. And while I would honestly, that would be nice to take advantage of that, you'd notice a couple of things. Number one, I kind of like being able to see the progress of videos. You go back to my first video, it's got like 500 views. And over the years, they go from like 500 views to like, in the millions. I like seeing that staircase of progress. It's cool. But also, I look considerably older now than when I started. People will look at me when I started and be like, what the hell? None of this. Man, you can see these lines in my eyes now that you couldn't see then. There's gray hair in my beard. It may not show up on this camera, but it's there. I'm getting old. So, yeah, it would look really weird. Blue Cats this Friday. I'll still be in Florida, but I appreciate it. I think I'll get back like Saturday night. What type of videos do best? Do you plan on doing any more catch and cooks? Yes. All the catch and cooks are going to be on the other channel, the Wildlife's Outdoor Cooking channel, which you can subscribe to off my main page. But I just filmed catch and cooks today for that channel and for the Patreon. If you guys don't know, the Wildlife Cooking channel, which is also going to have like all the hunting content and the shooting content on it, and the main channel, this one you're on now, same Patreon. So if you are from your channel and you subscribe to the Patreon, you get content from both. So all the catch and cooks that I do on that channel, I have extras on that Patreon. All the fishing I do on this channel, I have extra on the Patreon. All the hunting I'll be doing on that channel, or the shooting I do on that channel, I have extra on the Patreon. So I have catch and cooks on that channel and on the joint Patreon. If you're interested in catch and cooks, you can find them there. Let's see. What do I think of the current state of boxing? None of the big name boxers ever fight. It's aggravating. It's interesting. Because that's partially true, but it's also partially not true, and it's also good, and it's also bad. So there are big names that fight each other. I think it's who is Ryan Garcia? That kid's come places. Who is he fighting? Is it Davis that he wants to fight? It's interesting because you got guys like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and these guys, it takes so much time to put these fights together, and that's part of the double-edged sword of having all the power be in the hands of the fighters. They can negotiate the times they want, the prices they want, and their careers are much better for it, because you got to think, you're getting punched in the head for a living, you got to get paid. So giving them more power is better for the fighters, but it doesn't make it quite as easy to watch, because a lot of times fights fall through where guys don't agree on the contract. So in some respects, yes, the modern state of boxing, good guys don't fight each other or the fights get delayed. But then on the flip side, you got guys like Ryan Garcia, who's trying to fight the absolute best he can right now, without taking tune-up fights. And everyone's criticizing him for not taking the tune-up fight. And it's like, everybody wants the best to fight the best until they start trying to do it. And then everyone's like, whoa, wait a minute. So it's odd. But yeah, some of the boxers we have now are as good as anybody that's ever fought, ever. Canelo, man, he lost his highest weight class challenge that he's done. He kind of got worked in that fight, but he was against a great fighter who's much bigger than him. But he is one of the most amazing athletes in the world. I watch stuff that he does to inspire myself to work harder. Tried fishing the Braised Bayou near the Houston Zoo, but I had a problem with getting my bread bait to stay put in running water. Yes, so if you look at Braised Bayou, it's got in the downtown area, big gradual slopes, a flat shelf, and then in the center there's a deep channel. So what I do is I use just enough shot and I use little balled up pieces of bread, and I cast maybe 20 feet ahead upstream of where I want it to go, just over that ledge, because that is like, if this is the flat shelf and this channel right here, so like if my seatbelt is that deep channel right there, flat shelf channel, the carp hang out right here. So the carp hang out just below the edge of that drop off. So if you can drape the bread or bait, whatever you're using, right over the edge, the grass carp will swim by and pick it up. And those are the most fun fish to catch out there. The tilapia do tend to hang on the bottom, makes them harder to catch. But yeah, you just know, cast upstream, use enough lead to get it to sink down, and you'll want it to kind of catch just over the edge of the concrete. It takes a lot of practice, but you can do it, and it'll pay off. UFC over boxing? Yes, that's such a broad statement. Yes, mixed martial arts over boxing. I do prefer it. Although my favorite fighter of all time, favorite athlete of all time, is Muhammad Ali. But in general, yes, I do prefer mixed martial arts to boxing. Again, the fan experience tends to be better, but that is also because the fighters don't have any power, which is terrible for them. So there should be a happy medium in there somewhere. If I ever fished the Colorado River Spillway near Bay City, Texas, that's where you're... No, I haven't, but I will soon, now that you've said that. Definitely. Andrew Tate versus Jake Paul. No, Andrew Tate versus the law at the moment. That disgusting excuse for a human being is very likely guilty of human trafficking. I don't want to get into it too much here, but he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life. Also, Jake Paul would win. Lariat rope for Gar. Yes, I actually lost my lariat rope, and I have to use the limp noodle rope again. I need to go buy a lariat rope. But yes, the structure of a lariat rope, I like to buy the youth lariat rope. So a real lariat rope is like this thick, which makes sense because you're pulling a cow off its feet, or horse. I like to buy the youth size. They're a little bit thinner and more pliable, easy to work with. What camera or cameras do you use to get such 4K the night videos? I use the GoPro Hero 8 Black. I have several of those, and then my phone is just if I'm ever like wearing the GoPros and I need like a spare hand or something like that to film with, I'll use my phone because it's the... which one is it? It's like the Samsung 21, Galaxy 21, something like that. Very good camera. Most important thing for filming at night is the light, honestly. Bring really powerful lights to film with. Leacher Torch 2.0, some of the really powerful flashlights that Olight has sent me have worked out well. The light at night is the most critical aspect of filming. Can't wait for Francis versus John Jones. You're probably going to have to keep waiting because that fight's never going to happen. I am of the opinion John Jones will never fight at heavyweight. I don't think he's ever going to fight again. He has been saying he's going to fight at heavyweight since 2013. And every single time it comes up, people are like, oh, but he's ready this time. He's training this time. But it's always something. This contract wasn't right. This fighter fell through. Stipe doesn't want to do it. John wanted to do it, but, Francis is having surgery. He's almost training. His training is so intense now. The fight's probably never going to happen. If it does happen, I do not see John Jones doing well because he has looked terrible in his last couple of fights. I think age and damage, even though he's famous for not taking a whole lot of damage, have caught up with him. I think his lifestyle has probably caught up with him a little bit too. Dominic Reyes beat him. 100% beat him. Like, that was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. And everybody knows it. Who was the other guy he fought? The guy with the Thor tattoo. Kicked the crap out of his legs and nearly beat him. Went to, I think, a split decision. And John barely eked out a win. So those were middleweights, that went up, or one of them was a middleweight who went up to light heavyweight, and the other one was a small light heavyweight, and they both kind of handled him, or one of them handled him. Dominic Reyes beat him, and then Thiago Santos, that's who it was, gave him a real run for his money, and John did not look good in either of those fights. So considering that he's been off for 4 years and wants to come back and fight the best heavyweight in the world, it's a tall order. So if it ever happens, which I don't think it is, I think the advantage goes to Francis or Cyril Gahn or whoever he fights. Does John Jones' extracurricular activities and steroids take away from his GOAT status? Not his extracurricular. I'm getting tired. Not all the crazy stuff he's done and the horrible stuff he's done outside the octagon, the domestic abuse charges and all that. It makes him a terrible person, but it doesn't have weight in terms of like how it affects his athletic performance. The steroid use does. The turinabol, even though it's just a picogram, he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, I believe twice, and that has a tremendous effect, at least in my eyes, in the eyes of a lot of people, on his GOAT status. Yeah. For me, the greatest of all time for me is George St. Pierre. What light do I use? Leech Torch 2.0, and then I have like the Perrin 2 headlamp from Olight, and then the Mini Marauder flashlight from Olight. I film with those. Try fishing in Nebraska. There's flathead catfish with only little amounts of... Oh, cool. So like flathead catfish in shallow water. That'd be a neat video. I will look into that. All the BS aside, respect. We are from the same area, and you really went viral on this YouTube. Yeah. All I can do is put the work in. The fact that I went viral is still kind of shocking to this day. I try to stay humble with it. Like a lot of that is just out of your control. Like I didn't do anything super special. I put the work in to catch a tremendous fish, and the rest kind of took care of itself. Who would win, Jake Paul or Logan Paul? Jake Paul. Jake Paul would knock him out. Jake Paul can actually fight. Logan Paul looked like garbage, because Jake Paul actually trains with professional boxers on almost a full-time basis when he's in camp. Jake Paul is a good boxer, guys. He is a deplorable human being, and he is annoying as heck. And he says a lot of stuff that he's a grifter with all his NFT and cryptocurrency stuff. Like, he's a grifter, but the man can fight. People just need to accept that. Jake Paul got hands. You don't know anything about UFC or boxing or UFC, but I'm so bored I'm still here. I appreciate that. No, Andrew Tate has not been proven innocent. In fact, he has basically written about the crimes he's committed beforehand, thinking that he would not be caught. I guarantee you, man, he's guilty. 100%. He is a terrible human being. His comeuppance are coming for him. That piece of garbage is getting what he deserves right now. GSP, yeah, oh yeah, Fedor. People forget about anybody who is in the past. That's the nature of the sport. It moves so fast. George St. Pierre's legacy seems to be strong, though, and I think largely that's because he got out on top. Most fighters don't. In fact, he's kind of the only one I can think of who did. But Fedor, yeah, Fedor in his prime, scary. His ability to use his hips to stuff takedowns, incredible. What do I think of Dana's altercation with his wife? I think it's terrible. I think it is pretty indicative of the kind of person he is. It's awful. Doesn't matter. It does not matter if your wife hits you in public. You don't hit her back. It's ridiculous. Dana White's not a great person. The guard I caught was special. I appreciate it. Ouch. Floyd Mayweather in his prime versus Jake Paul in his prime. Who would win? Floyd Mayweather in his prime beats literally like every other great boxer in their prime. So Floyd Mayweather. When I say Jake Paul can fight, I don't mean like Floyd Mayweather can fight. There's a difference. One guy is a very athletic young man who is very talented and learning to fight very well. But like, there's a reason Jake Paul has not fought any professional boxers yet. He probably would not be able to hang with even just like a very, very, very skilled amateur, focused boxer. Considering how late he's been got started, considering the limited amount of training that he's had, he has done very well. But Floyd Mayweather, we're talking about one of the greatest athletes of all time, one of the most talented combat sports athletes of all time. Floyd Mayweather beats, you know, um, and has beaten many of the other greatest boxers of all time. Jake Paul may not be able to beat like a Golden Glove, probably cannot beat a Golden Gloves champion. Floyd Mayweather literally beat Manny Pacquiao. Like, there's a difference here, tremendous difference. GSP was the best of all time. I agree with you. He was something special, and he did it clean too. That's the thing. GSP never tested positive. Habib could have gotten there. I just wish he had stuck around and had more title defenses. 3 title defenses, and they're 3 of the most impressive title defenses you'll ever see. But only 3 comparative to like George St. Pierre's. I think he had like 9, something like that. Ridiculous. Also, George St. Pierre literally fought like the best fighters in the best organization his entire career, whereas Habib had a pretty padded record until like his last 5 or 6 fights. Habib is one of the greatest of all time, but I think he could have nabbed that GOAT status with a few more defenses. Have I ever done wrestling? I did not wrestle in high school, but yes, I can wrestle. I'm a pretty good grappler, and freestyle wrestling is a big part of that. The only reason Logan didn't... every time I keep trying to read these and they keep skipping ahead, so I have to go back and find it. The only reason Logan didn't get absolutely obliterated was because he's giant compared to Floyd. Yes, that is correct. Size goes a long way. It really does. Collaboration with Thai Pig Patrol, maybe. Again, collaborations, a lot goes into that. Worth looking into. What is the best sport, in my opinion? Mixed martial arts, all day. Basically, all the martial arts sports. Mixed martial arts, number 1. No-gi, jiu-jitsu. The ADCC scene. Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, like Olympic wrestling. All that. It's the best. Hey, y'all, from an account that says American. Very fitting. Do a video with Sharky TV. Who is okay, fun fact. Who is Sharky TV? I think I know who this is. Tell me, what is the name of the person that does Sharky TV? Because there's a guy based out of Galveston who's got a social media channel now that he's building. And Captain Sharky, he goes by something like that. I don't know if it's the same person as Sharky TV. But tell me who Sharky TV is, and I'll tell you whether or not the thing I'm thinking of is accurate. Habib exceeded all your expectations, but I thought Gleason Tebow beat him. He did. By modern scoring standards, Habib would not have won that fight. How old am I? Old. I've outlived Bruce Lee. I'll put it like that. MMA all day? Yes, indeed. And these questions, I'm kind of surprised how many questions I've been getting. I was not thinking I would get this many questions. I was trying to remember all the ones that have already been sent to me, which now at this point I'm probably not going to get to. Man. A lot of them have also been repeated in here. Whew. I am so exhausted. We've been doing this for almost an hour and a half. Time flew by. What time is it? 8:40. This is a good way to spend some time. So tomorrow is, what do you call it? I have 2 video ideas that I'm going to do tomorrow. One of which is, well, both of them are like high risk, high reward. So the chances of both of them failing are pretty high. Like it's a slim chance either will work out. But both of them, if they did work out, would be incredible videos. So I'm trying to figure out which one I think has the higher chance of being successful. What Florida fishing channels do you like, Joey Antonelli? If I'm being completely honest, I don't like a lot of Florida fishing channels. It was kind of like willingly listening to nails on a chalkboard, doing research for this video, this expedition. There's something about, and this is all personal taste, this is one of the things, like, if you're following my channel, if you like my channel, I really appreciate that, but there's a very good chance we have different tastes in YouTube content that we like to watch. I love Australian YouTubers. I love British YouTubers, as far as the fishing scene goes. I'm not super fond of a lot of American channels. I'm really not, and it's weird, and I can't explain it very much. A lot of American fishing channels feel as if they have more to do with the fishing bro mentality rather than the appreciation of the fish as an animal, and that is a very general statement. And I am not speaking of anyone in specific. So if you know of an example that bucks that trend, this person, they don't do that. Yeah, no, you're probably exactly correct. I am not speaking on behalf of every channel based out of America, but generally speaking, I don't watch a lot of American fishing channels, and the ones based out of Florida, they catch incredible fish. They really do. Um, I just can't get into them. I don't know why. But I just can't get into them. Good luck on the rest of your trip. I hope you catch something worthwhile. I appreciate that. We've been doing some really good fishing. Hopefully more good to come. Blue Gabe, ? I know who he is. I don't watch a lot of his stuff. It might come as a surprise to a lot of people, but I don't actually watch a lot of fishing YouTube channels. Like when I watch YouTube, like when I spend time watching videos, the categories, generally they're either martial arts related, food related, a lot of Gordon Ramsay, a lot of like Wired interviews with chefs, or Eater is a great channel, like sushi videos, sushi chefs, things like that. I'll watch a lot of that. You know, how does a 3-star Michelin restaurant run? Like I'll watch videos like that. Yeah, and a lot of movie channels. Red Letter Media is a particular favorite. I only watch like 4 or 5, maybe 6 fishing channels in general. I try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening on YouTube with fishing. So I'm constantly looking at what other people are doing from a research point of view standpoint. Also, I don't want to ever come off as copying someone's content. So I try to look at what other people are doing to make sure I try to make sure I'm not copying other people, so I keep an eye on what they're doing in that respect. Okay, Outcast Charters. His name is Captain Sharky. He does monster fishing. If that is the person I'm thinking of, his name is Michael Marquez. And I know Michael Marquez because when he was in high school, I taught science classes for Michael Marquez. He actually is a family friend from way back in the day. I was like a science instructor for him when he was a very young man. So yeah, if that's who I'm thinking of, I know him. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's done quite well for himself. Do I watch Fishing with Carl? Yes, that might be my favorite fishing channel. Top 4. That and the 3 Morning Tide guys. Definitely the Guggen Squad, because they have that sort of mentality you just described. Again, very talented fishermen. That's the thing. Like, and very successful on YouTube. That's the thing. You know, this is just a matter of personal preference. They are talented and they are successful. It's just not what I want to sit down and watch. That's all. And there's people who look at me the same way, except maybe they just strike all 3 off the list. Like, he's not talented, he's not successful, and I don't like watching him, which is fine. Everyone's got a personal taste. Ever thought of using drones for content shots? Yes and no. Here's the deal. I have a drone. It doesn't have a camera mounted on it, but it has that capability. I bought it for shark fishing, which I'm going to do more of when it gets warmer with a drone. Thank God. I'm not using the kayak anymore for bait drops. I don't like drone shots in a lot of YouTube videos. They get repetitive. Some of them are done quite nicely, but it's a lot of gear. I try to pack light, as light as possible. You know, the one time I've done a video where I was using electronics, in underwater drone, it was a nightmare. I will never do it again. Lugging around the case with the drone to the location, getting it out, setting it up. It just eats away so much time. And I know some guys are so good at it. They're so efficient. They have small drones too, and they have them out there. They get it up, they get the shot, they come back. But I'm not super experienced with drones, so in addition to being a lot of extra gear that I don't want to carry, it would be very difficult for me to use it on site. I'd have to have a lot of practice. Plan on making a video floating the Devil's River near Amstad. Interesting. 3 days. I've not heard of that. I will look that up. That would be crazy. A 3-day float. Man, that's madness. How do you eat? Where do you sleep? I'll look into that. Dude, you just got a forever viewer. Literally, that's my playlist, but I watch a lot of fishing videos too. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Am I driving? No, guys, I'm not driving. My car is running because I want the air conditioning on because it's humid down here. And I needed the light in a controlled environment. And also, I'm just trying to get some rest. I'm so tired. I've been fishing, 12, 14 hours a day for the last 3 days. And, went straight from like a 22-hour drive into that. So I'm exhausted. Now I'm just sitting in my car for a controlled environment with no mosquitoes and air conditioning. Okay. I appreciate you don't add unnecessary music to the background. I think that's what gets me disinterested from other fishing channels. Yeah, when it's used correctly, it works incredibly well. My brother is a kick-ass musician, and I've thought about commissioning him to do some music for some videos. But like, the way I would want to use music isn't so much like other YouTube videos do it, but more the way certain films I admire and filmmakers I admire use it. And filmmaking at like the highest level, I'm thinking of like the Martin Scorsese's, that style of filmmaking, David Lynch style of filmmaking, two of my favorites right there. You draw elements of that from their style and incorporate those elements into yours where it fits. Because I mean, if I was to do a whole video, based upon the vibe that I love so much from their work, it would be a horrible YouTube video. But by taking little bits here and there where it fits, you can kind of create a unique style of YouTube video that would reflect both my love and enjoyment of the filming process and be a good video for YouTube, because it is a different medium than film, different medium than television even. But yeah, I'm thinking about playing with a little bit of music, but not the way you would see it on a traditional YouTube video. Yes, Summoning Salt. I do watch Summoning Salt. What's interesting is, obviously I grew up with old gaming systems, Super Nintendo, what was the one before that? The really old one. Nintendo 64. I'm in my 30s. I grew up, I was born in the 80s. I'll give you that much information about my age. Grew up through the 90s playing on these old games, but I would never call myself a gamer. Like, I didn't know a whole lot about the gaming industry. And his video came up in my recommended feed. It was like speedrunning video. Oh, you know what it was? I watched one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, is H-Bomber Guy. And he did a video called Speedrunning is Awesome and Here's Why. And I watched that video and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. And then Summoning Salt video came up because the algorithm recognized the speedrunning video had been, I had watched it. And I watched Summoning Salt's video, and it was like, like the world record for, what was the one? Like Super Mario Bros. World record. And I was like, this is like the greatest channel ever. So I've just been binge watching him. I just watched just today. I just spent some time watching the one he did on the Star Wars game. Really, really fun. I love Summoning Salt. Although I hate that he used the song We're Coming Home, because it is so cool. Now I will feel like I'm ripping him off if I ever try to use it. So, yeah. Guggen Bros for life. Yeah, I mean, hey, everyone's got their taste. Indie Yak Angler is chill. I like him. He is having a moment right now. Indie Yak Angler is blowing up. He is doing some good work, and I like his style a lot. Let's see. Trying to read. Out of all the places in Texas to fish, which one is your favorite? Oh, I'm sorry. Out of all the places in Texas, I'm getting so tired. Out of all the places in Texas to fish, which one is your favorite place to fish? So, like, what's my favorite fishing spot? Is that what you're asking? Depends on the day, I guess. I honestly don't have a favorite spot, just whatever works. Oftentimes, I'm like this with a lot of things, where whatever is the latest thing to work really well gets me excited. So I honestly couldn't answer what my favorite place to fish in Texas is. It's like whatever the most recent unique video is that I've been able to do that I enjoyed making, that one. You know, I saw the thing about Phil Baroni being arrested, but then I also saw that it was the one source for that claim was from an article that had been edited, and they had added his name to an like a previous article or something. Basically, I can't find a second source for that. The guy I follow on Twitter for a lot of MMA news is Kaposa, and he was the first guy to break that I saw. And then he came back later and was like, I need another source. I can't find a second source. I'm not, like, obviously, it could be true. It'd be horrible if it is true. Phil Baroni accused of murdering his wife. Phil Baroni, if you don't know, guys, is a former MMA champion. But, yeah, I want to see a multiple news sources on that. It's probably true, but yeah. Is it more humid in Florida than Houston? It's about on par. The terrain is denser once you get into it, though. Like, there's more like lush green plants. So once you get into the fishing zone, it's more humid. Don't go crazy with music. Well, I won't go crazy with anything. I will make good videos. Try making a boxing video. Definitely would watch. While I would love to do that, it would probably not fare well on the algorithm because it's such a different content. I might incorporate some of that into a video, but I just for the sake, because this is my job. I have to do what's best for the viewership. I think if I made a video purely about boxing, it would not do that well, just because YouTube doesn't recognize that as being the primary type of videos that I do. My neck is killing me. All right. Ever thought about fishing challenges? Yeah. I was trying to think about setting one up recently. How many different species I could catch in like 24 hours, something like that. Oh man. Okay, so my brother is chiming in here. He is very much in touch with the MMA newscape, and he is telling me that it is confirmed. ESPN has confirmed Phil Baroni is accused of murder, and has been arrested. Man, there's something about Luke Thomas goes on about this much better than I can do it justice, obviously, but there is something about mixed martial arts and there's like this air of like domestic violence that kind of hangs over it more so than a lot of other sports. It's weird. Favorite video? Is that a question? You want to know my favorite YouTube video? I'm actually posting my 10 favorite YouTube videos one by one in the community section. I went through a list. I was like, what are my 10 favorite videos I've ever seen about any topic at all? And I came up with 10, and like 3 or 4 of them are fishing videos, and the rest are completely different topics. But they are my favorite videos I've ever seen. So I've posted like 3 of them, or 4 more are coming. You did some interest throwing combos at the camera. That was your favorite. I don't remember which one that was. It might have been a net video. I think I did a roundhouse, like a roundhouse kick in front of the camera screen for a net video intro once. Fishing with Carl did the Species Challenge recently, though. That's the only video I've fully watched from him. Watch his stuff. He's arguably the best filmmaker in the fishing scene on YouTube. He is, yeah, man, he might be the best. He might be the best at this. Okay, yes, Elizabeth says yes, and that was in response to me asking what is the favorite video on YouTube. I know my top 10. I don't know which one of those is my favorite. So there's a video about a Korean sushi master that is like bucking a lot of trends in sushi right now. That is one of them. What are the other ones I've posted? There is a film essayist named Tony, and he has a channel that's not active anymore. It's called Every Frame of Painting, and he does this incredible video essay about the manner in which Jackie Chan combines action and comedy in his filmmaking. That is one of them. There's an Alan Blair fishing video where he goes to Jurassic Mountain in Thailand. That's one of them. What else? What else? H. Bomber Guy's takedown of the Sherlock TV series, Why It's So Bad, is one of them. Jenny Nicholson just did one that was about this theme park that like never completely opened and kept trying to partially open and was like partially legit, partially fraudulent, and just massive. Like, I can't even explain. You got to get into it. It's incredible. That one, not only is it an incredible video, but working for a major zoo, I have a little bit of a background in how to run a park, the operations of a park. Now, obviously, a theme park and a zoo are very different, but there's some overlap. So it is interesting to see how a theme park rises and falls. And that video covers it really, really well. So yeah, there's some other videos I put in there. There's a Morning Tide video. There's a Red Letter Media video. Their last video with the Nuki tape is one of the best ones they've ever done. And then there's a Carl and Alex video I have to go back through and watch. There's a carp fishing video they did. This one of my favorites of all time. Yes, I did. One of my first videos was catching buffalo, like maybe like my 5th video. I've caught a lot on the show, but you're right. It's almost always like a part of the bigger video. A lot of the cast net videos I do include buffalo, but I never like specifically target them anymore as the main species. But I would like to go up to Lake Fort near Dallas or near Fort Worth in that area. The buffalo they have up there are like 40, 50 pounds. Bites and Strikes recently went up there. You should subscribe to his channel if you don't already. Phil from Bites and Strikes is a cool guy, and he has great fishing content. And he caught like a 40-pound buffalo. It's incredible. I love Carl's fishing videos. Yes, that guy is good. Are Garzilla rods good? Bubba Bedry, yeah, Bubba Bedry is like one of the pioneers for alligator gar fishing. It's hard to track down like who's the first. Everyone, especially guides, they all claim to be the first guide service, and like literally every single one of them says that. But he is one of the original guys to make an art of it, and he has these rods called Garzilla rods, and I've been trying to get my hands on one for years. Every single time I try to get on there to buy one, they're sold out, like every time, because I want to try them. I don't know for sure if they're good from personal experience, but Bubba Bedry is one of those guys that knows what he's doing. You know, his business relies upon the rods he uses working, and not just working for an expert, but working in the hands of anyone that pays him money for a charter or pays one of his affiliates, because he has guys that work for him and they run charters under his name. Yeah, I would be willing to bet the Garzilla rods work very well. Yeah, fishing with Carl is not fishing with Alex. So it used to be Carl and Alex fishing. Now it's just fishing with Carl. Alex has his own series of videos. He got more into the outdoor foraging, kind of like the old style, like camp life. He does a lot of van camping. In fact, Alex's channel, Just Alex, his van camping videos was the inspiration for the video that I'm making right now. What is the biggest fish I have caught yet? It would be the 8-foot 2-inch alligator gar. Had a girth of about 47 inches. The one I'm famous for, as far as, you know, YouTuber famous goes. The one I went viral for, I'll say it like that. That is the biggest fish I've ever caught. Probably weighed close to 300 pounds. A lot of people cry when I say that, and they're like, no, it weighed 250.2, 261.3. But I just compare the fish I caught to the world record. The world record was 8 foot 5.5 or 8 foot 5 3/4. Mine was 8'2", so literally that much of a difference in length, and the girth was the same. So and that fish, by the way, died, unfortunately. Not mine. Mine did not die. I'm referring to the world record in Mississippi. It was caught in a net. It was bycatch, actually. It wasn't like a rod and line catch. The world record, I use that term to refer to the biggest one authenticated. I don't think it was actually listed as like a rod and line record. But because it was dead, they got a solid weight on it, and it was 327 pounds. And that was hours after it died, so probably a little bit dehydrated. So let's say 330 at least. And that fish had the same girth as mine and was only that much longer. So to say mine couldn't weigh 300 pounds is kind of silly. It was probably right around that 300-pound mark. And I know this is a weird thing to say, but I have handled multiple 300-pound animals before. Working in a zoo, one of the cool things I got to do was help carry a lot of sedated animals, because when you can do a vet procedure with an animal without sedating it, that's the way you want to go. But sometimes, you have to do an operation on an animal and you have to sedate it just like you would sedate a person. And how do you move a sedated lion? Well, you have to carry it, and it takes several of us, and it is incredibly difficult. Same thing. How do you carry a sedated ostrich? You have to carry it. So I've actually had experience picking up 300-pound animals with help, and I can tell you it felt just like that. Have I ever heard of the... and then blank. So maybe, possibly. Finish that thought down here. You got cut off. Have I ever thought about hosting tours to your favorite spots? No. Not because I want to like protect the spots or whatever, but like the guide life does not interest me at all. A good friend of mine, Alex Sosa, who did the I don't think he runs the guide service at the moment. He wants to take a break, as he explained to me. If you want to know more about that, I don't want to get into his personal life. If you want to know more about why he's not doing the charters anymore, the Buffalo Bayou Fishing Champs, you can talk to him. But when he was doing them, he explained to me how tough it is to be a guide, and I'm just not interested in doing that. Bites and strikes, yeah, Phil's the man. Oh, let's see. Do a fan fishing meet and greet in Sugarland. I will probably eventually. Honestly, the response I've got on this live chat has kind of surprised me a bit. I still don't consider myself to be that big of a channel. I mean, I'm moderately big now. 118,000 subscribers. I think more people are familiar with my channel on the YouTube scene than subscribe to my channel, just because of the weird viral nature of that one video I did. Still very surprising to me. I don't think of myself as being like a person people are going to come out to meet, is what I'm getting at. I think maybe a few people would show up, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be lining up to just say hi to me, and that feels weird. I don't know. Maybe when we get to like 300,000 subscribers, I'll do it. But right now, that just kind of feels. I would be full of myself to think that I would be like this attraction for people to come meet. Can I do more catfish videos? Yes, definitely, especially right now. I actually have one already made that will be coming out soon. I caught 35 and 45-inch grass carp, and just letting me know about it. Congrats, man, that's a good fish. That's 35 pounds, 45 inches. I think I read that wrong the first time. 35 pound, 45 inches. That is a really great grass carp. What lens setting do you use on your GoPro? Like linear, wide, super wide? I use the wide. So not the super wide, not the linear, but just the wide. Should I gift you my Garzilla rod? If you have a Garzilla rod, hang on to that. Catch good fish with it. Send me the picture of the fish you catch with it. Oh, my sister's chiming in. Awesome live video. Proud. Hope everything is going well. Best fisherman in Houston. I don't know about that. I try. Have I ever broken a fishing... Oh, I thought it said, have I ever broken a fishing rod? And I was like, yes, lots of them, actually. Have ever broken a fishing record? Not officially. That gar would have broken the state record for sure. In fact, one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me is after that whole thing went viral on Twitter and I did all the news interviews and all that, one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me is I got a message from Bill Valverde's daughter. So Bill Valverde holds the record for the largest alligator gar ever authenticated in Texas on paper. And to the best of my ability, I have not been able to find the length of that fish, but it weighed 279 pounds, which is gigantic. That is a huge fish. You can see pictures of it next to him. It's massive. But his daughter reached out to me to talk to me about alligator gar conservation, because that's actually something really important to her, which makes sense. When your family's name and legacy gets tied to a specific animal, you care about that animal. And we talked about alligator gar conservation for a long time, and one of the things she said to me is that it meant a lot to her that I did not kill the fish to break his record. She said, you could have done it, and it's cool that you didn't. So from the family, I could have done it. Will I ever seek an IGFA record? Maybe. I don't think, honestly, probably not, and here's why. There are people that is what they do. That's what they go for, those records. They fish hard for those records. And I think I need to put that amount of work into this. For me, it's more about being able to share the experience and the conservation information and all that stuff, and produce quality films. And granted, you can do all that while breaking a record, but I think just achieving a record would take more out of my time than I would be able to use productively for this YouTube channel. So, and I probably wouldn't be able to do it, honestly. It'd probably be a lot of work for a failure. So for something I'm not super keen on doing, no, probably won't seek out one of those records. There are much better fishermen than me who are already on top of it. The chances that I would beat one of them out for it, very low. Do I keep my fish and eat them sometimes? Yes, that's what we've been doing a lot of here. It will be going to my other food channel. Let's see. Would you do a tutorial on removing hooks from toothy fish like gar? I think I went over it in the how to catch a alligator gar video. Literally, that video is like an hour plus. And I go over all kinds of things. And I want to do a follow-up video, and maybe I'll focus on that a little bit more. But again, if you're using that method I described, the modified circle hook, it's not complicated because the circle hook will catch right about here somewhere. So with just a long pair of pliers, you can get them out just as you would with any other fish. Obviously being very careful not to get your hand in his mouth. If you use the circle hook method that I talk about so much, removing the hook from a gar is no longer complicated. I would show up. I appreciate that. How far away am I from shaving my head? So if you don't know, guys, I made a challenge to people that if they claimed a free bag of lures on one of my videos, if 1,000 people did it, I'd shave my head. I have to talk to the people who get those numbers. The Salt Strong people, they have that recorded. So far, it's not going anywhere. Anytime I drive past familiar bodies, I'll look down to see if I'm there. I've had a few people message me being like, I just drove past the exact place I'm at. Like, I saw you. I'm like, oh yeah, they got it. And then I've had people literally like comment on videos that are like 4 years old, and they'll be like, bro, I just saw you. I drove past that spot. It's like 4 years ago, man. Like, read the date on the video. Let's see. Don't sell yourself short. If anyone can beat their records, it's me. Depends. Like, again, the alligator gar one, yeah, I can and have caught as good at alligator gar as anyone who has ever caught alligator gar. I've proven that. However, if we're talking about like the saltwater records and stuff like that, I am not even remotely good enough with saltwater fishing to do that. Beach bomber fishing could probably do it. He could probably, he probably has broken the state record for like a red drum with one. He posted one that he caught a few years ago. Absolutely insane how big it is. But I'm not super talented at saltwater fishing. So if I was to go after one of those records, I probably couldn't do it. Thank you for letting all the gar go. Absolutely, it's very important to me. Can I do some in-depth, no pun intended, tutorials on how... Oh, can I do some in-depth tutorials for how... I keep reading the word how. The word how is not in there. Let me read this again. Guys, I'm tired. Can you do some in-depth tutorials for people new to freshwater fishing? Been fishing saltwater my whole life, but I'm moving away from the Gulf Coast soon. Oh, that... Well, whatever you're moving for, I hope it works out well for you. People don't make decisions like that unless they kind of have an idea of exactly why. So I'm sure you've worked it out. But, man, if I moved away from the coast, it would hurt. Yeah, I'll work on it. Again, here's the deal. Like, it's kind of like martial arts, right? So, do I know jiu-jitsu? Yes. Do I know Muay Thai? Yes. Can I shoot a really good snatch single? Like, yes. Am I qualified to teach other people how to do it? No, I'm not. I am a big believer that just because you can do something doesn't mean you are qualified to instruct on it. There's a big difference there. And I fish a lot of places and I catch a lot of different fish, but that doesn't mean I'm qualified to instruct on it or the best to instruct on it. The one fish I think I am qualified to do that for is the alligator gar, and that's why I did the how to catch alligator gar video, and that's why I'm going to be doing another one. As far as other species of fish, there's already guys who are better at me catching those exact fish that have already done it. So what I'd recommend is that whatever type of fish you're interested in catching, like start specifically, because when you say do a guide for freshwater fishing, that's such a broad topic. The methods and tactics and times that you would use for different fish are incredibly diverse. So pick the species that you're interested in and then look for the videos that have already been done on those, because they've probably been done. How did you feel when you came out in the local paper? I was in the paper for Stanford near Missouri. I've been in the local newspapers before. So here's what happened, and I feel like it keeps coming back. Like, I keep getting mentioned and stuff for this. It might be my defining moment. I don't know. It certainly is at the moment, but, hopefully we'll move to bigger things. But with that alligator gar that I caught, here's what happened. I went out, I caught the fish. I knew I had caught one of the biggest ones ever filmed. Uploaded the video, and the video got 40,000 views and stopped. And then I got an email from a writer with the Houston Chronicle being like, hey, I want to talk to you about this. So I did that interview, and the article that guy wrote is why I went viral. I owe so much to that writer. And it was like the next day, someone messaged me and said, bro, you're trending on Twitter. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, that's funny. And then, I was just working online. I was doing some other stuff, and someone else messaged me and was like, dude, you're trending on Twitter. I was like, hang on a second. So I looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, I am. This is insane. And it was because the article the guy wrote, it was so well written. He asked me to send him photos, but the way he presented them in the article was amazing. And it's because of that Houston Chronicle article that I went viral on Twitter. And I just got, the channel just started blowing up. I was getting 1,000 subscribers a day for a point. And then I was getting emails from news stations in Houston, but also from all over the world. I did interviews with newspapers in Japan, Australia, Germany. I did some for Britain. I did one for Brazil. I appeared on TV. I went to TV stations and did interviews in Houston, but I did news interviews with stations all over the world. When that happened, it really did go globally viral. It was so weird. I still can't get over the fact of how weird that is. And that's good. The moment you start believing your own hype, the day I start believing my own hype and talking about myself like I'm special, unsubscribe. Just the moment you see me being like, yeah, I'm the best, just hit that unsubscribe button. Just do it. Give me a check. Um, I am I am not special. I work very hard. I'm pretty good at what I do, and I work incredibly hard at what I do. And there's also a lot of luck, and there's also a lot of other very talented people like the writers at Houston Chronicle that I owe a tremendous amount to. Mr. Moore, any chance? How do you know my last name? I don't think I ever say my last name on here. It's probably on my Instagram. Mr. Moore, any chance that you will fish in the New Mexico, for example, Elephant Butte, Caballo Lake, Big Blues, and Flathead Catfish? Maybe. I want to go to New Mexico. Is it... What's the name of that park? There's a park in New Mexico that I want to go to. I can't remember the name of it. My wife loves it. Oh, it's slipping my mind right now. But yes, I do want to go there. How old should you be to start gar fishing? Well, that's a tricky subject. So when I was 12 years old, I was catching alligators with my bare hands. And not alligator gar. I mean literally alligators. So, like, how old can you be to do it? Well, it depends on the individual. If you're a crazy kid like me, then, you know, early teens. But you got to remember, if I'm going to go on my YouTube channel and recommend a starting age, I don't know just from a legal standpoint of what would be safe to say, you know, because it can be kind of dangerous. Not just the fact that the fish can be dangerous, but where you have to go to get them. You know, that's if you're young enough that that's a question, talk to your parents. If you're old enough that it's not a question, well then you don't need my advice on it. Just be very careful. What kind of fish you keep, and what kind of fish do you like to eat? Well, here's the deal. Normally, I prefer catch and release, even when I'm catching. My favorite fish to catch and eat are saltwater fish like redfish and flounder. Trout are just okay. Redfish and flounder are my favorites. They're the ones I like to do catch and cooks for and stuff like that. The reason I don't keep a whole lot of them, or hadn't in the past, is that, you know, if you're not refrigerating fish, a lot of the times once you catch a fish, if you're not equipped to refrigerate it, or if you're moving from spot to spot, or if you're walking a lot, that kills your video. Is done right there. Like, you've got this fish, you have to do something with it. You have to take it back to your car. You have to go get ice. You have to get all these things prepared. And that can take you out of the moment. That can take you out of your zone. If the bite is really hot for a long time, I want to stay there for a long time and catch those fish. So that's why I dedicated an entire other channel. I moved the camera while I moved my hand. That's why I dedicated an entire other channel to outdoor food. We're going to do all the catch and cooks as well as other things on that channel. So I will do fishing trips for things like flounder and redfish and stuff, specifically for the catch and the cook aspect. I think I've got some stuff on there now like that, and I just filmed some catch and cooks over the last couple of days. Hey man, love the vids. Keep it up. I will. Thank you. Beach Bomber crushes those drums. He does. I have fished with him in saltwater and freshwater. He's good at both, but it's very clear there is a massive skill discrepancy between us when we went saltwater fishing. Did we go saltwater fishing? I feel I might have run into him when I was saltwater fishing and fished, like, not with him technically, but near him. But yeah, he's incredible. Drone for bait deployment for the win. Yes, I have one of the Swell Pro drones. We'll be doing that soon. I'm just waiting for the weather to heat up a little bit. Is the Pen Slammer 10500 a good gar fishing reel? Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. That would be an amazing one. I've never used a Pen Slammer, but basically it's just a higher quality version of anything I do use. So yeah, that would absolutely catch huge alligator gar. How could a Pen Slammer for 10500 not be good? Oh yeah. probably just asking about specifics. I don't know. Basically, an alligator gar reel needs to have a couple of things. Number one, it needs to be durable because of the environment you're going to fishing in. It's going to get beaten up. It's going to get muddy. It's going to get wet. Slammers are pretty darn durable, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're kind of famous for their sealing. It needs to have a lot of line capacity. You want to have at least 300 yards of 80-pound braid minimum. Penn Slammer 10500 would be, probably would hold 350 yards of 100-pound braid. I don't know those specifics for sure, but it probably holds a lot. Consistent drag, that's got it. Yeah, those are the most important things. And a high retrieval rate, so it needs to take line in real fast. That's why I don't use a lot of Penn casting reels, because the retrieve is so slow. That's why I like the PC Fun reels, because they have a really fast retrieval rate. So yeah, those things: consistent drag, line capacity, durability, and a high retrieval rate. So yeah, the Penn Slammer, man, if you got one of those, yeah, they'll work. They might work better than what I use. I don't know. Hello, wildlife. Hello. Walleyes. I would love to catch walleyes. Can I do a rod and reel arsenal video? Yes, I'm going to do one of those on my Patreon page. The reason I don't do those for the main channel is because they're long, they're tedious, there's nothing really interesting about them to get the average person to watch. That's one of the things I've been very successful with over the years, is getting people who don't fish to watch my stuff, because of the way I title and do thumbnails. When you do a fishing gear review, you're not only just getting your subscriber base, you're getting your subscriber base and whoever else is looking specifically for that, the search keywords. And not only are you not getting outside your subscriber base generally, but you're only getting a small portion of it, is what I have found. So I'll be doing one of those on the Patreon. How do you recommend to go flathead catfishing? I had one and it hurt your arm. And they're strong fish. Well, kind of like alligator gar, you need proper gear. Unlike alligator gar, they are going to be much more structure oriented. So, I mean, all fish are structure oriented to a degree. Flathead catfish more so than alligator gar. You can catch alligator gar in like big, flat, sandy rivers. And you can catch flathead like that too, but here's the difference. Flathead, the big ones, are going to be found where there's going to be a lot of rocks, boulders, huge snags are going to be tucked up underneath that, looking up at things to eat. And when they grab that food, guess where they're going? Right back down into it. So you need gear that has backbone to pull those fish out. I did a challenge, it's on my Patreon actually. Somebody asked earlier about fishing challenges. I have one on my Patreon where I did a fishing challenge for flathead with like a small bass rod. And man, the majority of those fish wasn't gonna happen. It worked, by the way. I've got fish on that video, flathead. But it was tough. So get some backbone for flathead. Use live bait. What is the best temperature to fish in? Depends on what you're trying to catch. I prefer, the 80s. That's kind of my favorite zone. And I'm thinking alligator gar generally when you ask me those questions. I just caught a 3-foot 6-inch blue cat in White Oak Bayou. Awesome, that's good fish. It's good to know there's fish biting in there. Am I gonna buy a boat? No, because I don't have anywhere to put it. They're also a lot of work and they're a lot of money, and I probably wouldn't get enough videos in on a boat to justify having one. I barely get enough kayak videos done to justify having this. So yeah, probably not gonna buy a boat. Will any conventional reels work for alligator gar? Yeah, the model name is escaping me, but if you look back through my videos, you'll notice I'm using a reel from PC Fun. What is the model name of that video? Salus X, that's the one. It just came into my brain. The Salus X300 is a great conventional reel for gar because it has such a fast retrieval rate. Have I fished Moses Lake by the floodgates in Texas City? Yes, great spot. I need to go back. I did a video throwing live bait and catching. I started off with live bait, and then I just started throwing an empty hook and started catching like so many fish, like just swarming on these giant schools of shad. Yeah, that's a great spot. I do need to go back. Are the gar biting this time of year? If you go to the right spots, yes. Especially when you get a string of days in the 70s or higher. If you can get 5 days in a row where the temperature is 70 and you go to the right spot where there's like a lot of mud, because mud retains heat, you can catch alligator gar this time of year. Let's see here. Hello, Wildlife, big fan. Thank you, I appreciate it. How much is it? What were we talking about? Oh, the Salus X. Not expensive. I think they go for like $100. Or no, it actually might be less than that. As far as conventional reels go, it is very affordable. And that one works really well. Again, a lot of conventional reels tick a lot of those boxes. Like, I will say the Salus X does not have a very strong drag. It does not have the rating that PC Fun says it does. They say it's got like 30 pounds of drag. I promise you it doesn't. But that retrieval rate is so important for the hook set. Because here's the deal with a fishing reel. You can adjust for drag by using your thumb. It'll hurt, especially if that fish goes on a run. But if you're dedicated and you want that fish, you can do it. It'll be worth it. And there's a lot of big gar that you'll see me catch on that reel throughout the show, where I'm putting my thumb on the spool to account for the fact that the drag is not as strong as they say it is. You can account for a weak drag with that method, but you cannot account for a slow retrieval rate. As fast as you want to reel, probably not going to work out on a slow reel. So the hook set is really the most important part, because you can't catch the fish unless you do that. So focus on gear that can get the hook set done, and then adjust the drag manually as needed. Right now, the Salus X is on sale for $79.99. If you want to catch alligator gar, buy one. They're great. Just the one thing I found, by the way, for anyone who's interested, I think I covered this in the alligator gar video. When you buy a conventional reel of any kind for alligator gar, it suddenly becomes very hard to find a rod that works well. Because here's the thing that a lot of conventional reels do that I hate, is that they have a very short butt section, and it makes leaning back into a hook set or fighting with a fish. Because when you fight a fish, you want your back to be straight and you want your arm to be straight. And you want the distance from the foregrip to the butt section to your hip to make like this perfect triangle, like here to here. You want to be able to hold your rod and reel like that without having to lean over or adjust your back or anything like that. And it's hard to find conventional reels that fit that bill. It's really weird. So you can go two routes. You can have a custom rod built, which the Brackish Water Customs guys down from the Corpus Christi area gifted me with an insanely well-built rod. It's a spinning model, but they do casting models as well. I think you can find them through my Instagram. They make some of the best rods I've ever seen. You can go that route, or you can search and search and search and search. And eventually, it took me a while, trial and error. I finally found rods that were suitable in terms of the handle length. And the two that I like the most for casting rods are the Denali bottom feeder. It's probably my favorite. Also, the significantly powerful. I mean, the biggest fish I ever caught is on this combination I'm describing right now, is the PC Fun Salus X and then the Denali bottom feeder casting heavy action, 8-foot heavy action. I think it's 7'10" now. It used to be 8 foot. But yeah, you want to find one with that proper handle length so that you can hold it with the butt section in your hip and your arm straight. That is so important. The other one is the B&M Silvercat Elite. Those rods are a little bit softer, so they're more designed for catfish. I've caught like 6-foot gar with them, but I remember the day I caught that giant gar. I had 2 rods with me. I had the what do you call it? Denali bottom feeder, the heavy action, which is an incredibly powerful rod. It's like that thick. It's huge. And the other one I had was the B&M Silvercat Elite, and I've caught fish up to 100 pounds with that rod. But after I caught and released that fish, I thought to myself, man, I'm glad it took on the Denali, because if it had taken on the B&M Silvercat, I don't know if that rod could have handled a fish of that size. So those two rods, the B&M Silvercat Elite has an incredible action. Also, it looks really good on camera because it bends really well. But if you think you're gonna catch a fish over 7 feet long, Denali bottom feeder is the way to go. Bad time of year to wade fish at Surfside? Question mark. No, the redfish are biting real good. If you can brave the cold weather, and it's not too bad, especially right now, it's like in the 70s, I think, back home. Definitely not a bad time. You just got to put up with the weather. Custom rod with the spiral wrap is the way to go for alligator gar. Yeah, I agree. Again, here's the thing about, I keep going on and on about the Denali bottom feeders. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them, guys, but it's hard to find good stuff, so I like to put it out there for people who are trying to find out. That rod met all of my specifications as is. The things I wanted out of it, it already had perfectly. But it may not be the case for anyone else. So if you're looking for a rod that just has this perfect lineup of specifications in your brain, he's correct. The way to do that is you have a rod custom made. Let's see. Been a fan of the channel for a while now, brother. I like your intel, insight, and demeanor. Have you ever thought about going for the white bass run in Cypress Creek or other creeks around Houston? Yeah, I'm trying to think. I did a video fishing, I can't remember if it was in Cypress Creek or not. It was near that area for white bass a while ago. I think it was last year. I like to meet up with my uncle to go fishing in or near the Nacogdoches area for the white bass run, because he has a bass boat, and we get out on the, I think it's the Nietzsche's River, I think. Angelina River, maybe? Yeah, I think it's Angelina River. And we can catch, 50 fish in a single outing each. Like, that's the way I like to fish for white bass. I have a Bass Pro Gold Cup GCP 20. The bend of the rod is power medium heavy. Is that a good combo for little gar? I don't know off the top of my head the specs of that rod, but I can tell you from experience. So it depends on what you mean by little gar. Anything under 3 feet you can catch with bass gear pretty easily. Anything in that 4 to 5 foot range, I would recommend like medium heavy saltwater gear at least. And then anything over that, you need to go proper gar gear. I like that you're humble, but you are all very skilled at gar fishing. I appreciate that. I would think it's hard to have better skills and equipment and knowledge in the gar arena. I appreciate that. There are some really great gar fishermen out there. There really are. And here's the thing. A lot of the times when you think about like who's the best at gar fishing and all that, certainly I do this a lot, and I think a lot of people do. You think in terms of like what you've seen, who publishes content. But there's a lot of guys out there who are just as good as me, maybe better, and they're just not putting things on YouTube because they're not YouTubers. But that doesn't mean that they're not incredible fishermen. But yeah, no, the number of people who are really, really good at alligator gar fishing is kind of small, just because it's not a very popular sport fish. I mean, it's getting more popular, but still, it's compared to like bass, it's not even a question. No gar in West Texas, El Paso. Plenty of catfish though. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to do a whole lot of fishing when I was in that area. That was one of those videos that started out problematic and got more problematic. So I didn't have any success when I was fishing in West Texas. I have been told though that people catch pretty good alligator gar in This is how tired I am. What's the name of the river that borders Mexico? Rio Grande. Oh my god, I need to go to sleep. Um, I've been told that people catch pretty good gar out of there. When is the next video? This weekend. Yes, there's catching an enormous number of white bass is so much fun. It really is. I like the way you throw your cast net. Thank you. At least somebody does. A lot of people get so mad about that. And I caught on to that very early, by the way. That was one of the first things, by the way, where I started picking up on the fact that gained traction in the algorithm, making people angry. So you will notice, if you watch enough, you will notice little trends where I will repeatedly say certain things or do certain things that I know is going to get a rise out of certain people, or bring comments, or I will pose questions and then not answer them because I know people are going to ask in the comment section about it, and I want the comments going for the algorithm. And I learned how to throw my cast net, technically speaking, the wrong way. There is no wrong way, by the way, guys. If you can throw it into a circle, it works. But I did the first video that blew up for cast net videos. Was the one where I was fishing, cast net fishing in Houston. I think it was titled, oh, this is also what happens when you cast net a city bayou. There's two trends on YouTube fishing videos that I, to the best of my knowledge, I think I started them. And one of them, they're both title trends, and one of them is the what happens if, what happens when titles. And then the other one is this is why titles. I did a video, this is why you throw big baits in a river, this is why you throw big baits in a city bayou. Those are my two biggest videos. And I had people, one of them has 8 million, the other one has like almost 5 million views. And I had like famous YouTubers commenting on those, being like, man, I don't know why this is my algorithm, but that's cool fish. Like, big channels like Wendigoon showed up. I don't watch his channel, but I know who he is. Like, I had some pretty well-known names just be like, this was in my algorithm, this is pretty cool. People with millions and millions and millions of subscribers. And then I noticed a bunch of other YouTubers started making their titles just like mine. But anyway, yeah, the cast net video, I throw the cast net that way on purpose because it gets people to comment, and I will do it for the rest of my life because it still works. Any fishing in San Antonio? I went to San Antonio a couple of months ago, unsuccessful. And a lot of that just comes to the fact that I don't go there enough to know exactly where I need to be. So the first video I tried didn't work out, but I do want to go back. Rio Grande, yeah, thank you. Lake Livingston has huge alligator gar. Yeah, here's the thing. Alligator gar have made a decent comeback, relatively speaking, from where they were 50 years ago. You know, even more recently now, let's say 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You can find, here's the thing, you can find big alligator gar in just about every major river and most large bayous and most of the big lakes in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The problem is not that you can't find them in that range anymore, but that you can't find as many big ones. And there's a big difference. Like, a lot of people get so upset or confused, or both, when I talk about the decline of the alligator gar, and they're like, bro, alligator gars are not declining. I just caught a big one today. And it's like, okay, first off, your personal experience is not scientific data. Like, it's not the accumulation and like result of like studied data. It's not the same thing. But also, I'm not saying that you can't find large gar throughout this range. By the way, the range, let's just talk about that. The range that I just mentioned is like less than a quarter of where you should have been able to find them 50 years ago. So there's that. But then I'm not saying you can't find the large gar in all these places within that range. I'm saying there's not as many as there should be to safely continue a breeding population. There's still very good reason to be concerned, because it takes them so long to mature sexually so that they can breed. They grow very slowly. So when you take one out of its environment by killing it, it takes many years to replace that one fish. That's the problem. There's not as many large breeding alligator gar as there used to be. You can still find them in a lot of the same area within their reduced range, but you cannot find that many that are that big. Let's see. Copycatters. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I am one too, because like I'm saying like a bunch of, and again, that's just a guess. You know, it could be there was another YouTuber that I'm just not aware of who started that trend, and I just happened to do it at the same time, and I don't know about it. And maybe that YouTuber's looking at me being like, oh, he's copying my stuff. I'm pretty sure I started those two trends. But I steal from people all the time. All the time. Have you ever noticed? Most of you will know who I'm talking about. I won't even say his name, but I bet you most of you, somebody in the comments could probably say exactly who I'm talking about. You'll notice a lot of my videos have the close-up of the bait with the hook through it, with the backdrop being where I'm going to fish. Sometimes the reel is in the frame too. I started doing that because there's a YouTuber who does that and gets incredible numbers, and all of his thumbnails are super consistent with that type of image. And I know you know who I'm talking about. I don't even have to say who it is. So yeah, I totally ripped off his stuff. If you oh, did I get out of the, okay, I flipped the camera around. I thought I X'd out of the live stream. So yeah, everybody's a copycatter on YouTube, me included. I hate those clickbait titles, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, man. That's the thing. It's a self-perpetuating system. You know, you have to, one of my favorite videos of all time, kind of going back to the conversation I had earlier about my top 10 favorite YouTube videos, one of my favorite videos of all time is a video by a YouTuber I really love called Veritasium. And he talked about the science behind clickbait and how it works. In clickbait, in his video, has a series of definitions. He does like 4 primary definitions of what clickbait is, and where within those definitions, if you graph it into like 4 quadrants, where you can go with your video and the type of results you're likely to get depending on where you are. That video changed my life. That video is the reason I do this full time. Without that, I would be lost. So definitely check that out. But that video does an amazing breakdown of why YouTube videos have to be titled the way they are now. Lots of big black drum out there lately. Yes, there are. I think the guys, H-Town Anglers team, just posted a video with some black drum in it, if I'm not mistaken. Am I going to catch and cook in the Houston area? Oh, no. The Gulf Coast area? Yes. Houston, no. I'm telling you, just when the water smells like gasoline, you don't eat fish out of it. You can catch big catfish on the Riverwalk. See, that's what I tried to do. I tried. I saw some reports of somebody catching a 40-pound flathead just downstream of the Riverwalk. So I thought, logically, you know, they must be in the Riverwalk as well. So I fished the Riverwalk real hard. Didn't catch anything, but I need to go back because that is exactly what I was trying to do for that video. Texas Jack clickbaity titles are par for the norm. The wildlife actually does the hard work. I appreciate that. There's a lot of guys. That's not who I was. If you're talking about who I was naming with the thumbnail picture, that's not who I was talking about. But honestly, a lot of people probably use that guy's method now because it's so good. A lot of YouTubers do put in the work. I forgot where I was going with that point. Just, it was on my brain. Oh yeah, going back to the title thing. Veritasium, he goes over the science of what he refers to as the curiosity gap. That is key. That is the most important thing there is about getting people to click on your YouTube video. Definitely watch that video. I'd love to see you get another bowfin. First video we ever saw of yours was a bowfin from a roadside creek. I think I know the one you're talking about. I've caught a couple of bowfin, and they're always in roadside creeks. But yeah, no, bowfin are a lot of fun. They're really subtle fish. Man, I wish we had snakehead in Texas. That's what I've been fishing today. Oh man, they are like bowfin on steroids. How often do I come across alligators? All the time. All the time. You just have to be very aware of them and how to behave around them. So, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. 618 fishing. That guy. It's interesting. I was just having this conversation with Sean from my Patreon page, and we were talking about 618 fishing. I think his name is Nick. I don't watch a lot of his videos, but I watch him in regards to like taking notes on how to be good at what I do. All of his videos are exactly the same. So here's how they are. And by the way, this is a compliment. I'm not ragging on the guy. If I could do this the way he does it, I would do it. So every single one of his videos is exactly like this. You see the thumbnail come up, and the picture is very basic frame, backdrop of where he's going to be fishing. Usually it's a spillway of some sort. And the frame is a huge circle hook, like eagle claw, like the saltwater eagle claw hook. Almost always that's what he's using, it looks like. And he has a massive bait, usually a whole fish on it, or something weird like a drumstick or a piece of steak, or you name it, a weird thing. So you have the huge bait on it, the big circle hook through it that he's holding in the frame, and you're like, oh my god, what could possibly eat that bait? Like, it's crazy. That's the curiosity gap. It makes you go, wait, what's gonna happen? Is that really gonna happen? Can a fish eat that? Is he really gonna catch something with that? Your thumbnail on any video, really, the first thing it needs to do besides stop someone from scrolling is cause them to ask a question. They need to see your thumbnail and ask a question. Wait, what's going to eat that? That kind of thing. What does live in a city by you? Wait, there's fish in there? Questions. So yeah, he has that picture and then the title, and he reuses the same title all the time, which is just brilliant, because if it works, use it again. Is something like this. I can't believe I caught the spillway monster. Something like that. And then this is what happens. You're scrolling, you stop, and you go, wait, what's the spillway monster that's going to eat that massive bait? Click. Watch the video. And the guy just catches like a channel catfish that weighs like 5 pounds. And it's like, part of me wants to be frustrated, and then the other part of me is like, you're really good at this. I'm kind of just going to steal what you're doing and use it for me. So I don't have the right to be mad at you now, because I appreciate how well you've done your job. But yeah, that's what he does. He's same thumbnail, same titles. He, as far as I'm aware, he's never really caught anything that I would consider a monster. And his videos work every time. Do I marinate my dead baits? Occasionally, yes. I like to use Menhaden oil sometimes on my fish baits. What's my biggest carp? It was like a 35 pound grass carp. But a lot of people wouldn't count that as a PB, because I think I, foul hooked it. Biggest fair caught carp was like 20. Thresher fishing, he probably does. Again, that's a channel that I just can't get into. He's very good. He's so talented. And if you're watching this, I'm not. That's the thing, is like, I gotta remember, like, he's based out of Texas, I think. Again, there's only like 4 or 5 fishing channels I watch. So if I don't watch a channel, it's not because I don't like the channel. It's just because most of what I watch is not fishing related. But yeah, he probably does use similar titles and thumbnails, but 618 is the guy I was thinking of. Would I ever fish with subscribers soon? Here's the deal with that. That's difficult to do. I mean, maybe like a subscriber fishing day, but then again, like, where's it going to be? Um, the timing of that is hard to do. Anytime you're fishing with other people, it becomes about fishing with other people and not catching fish. Because if you're not able to catch fish where you are, you can't move. It's hard to readjust. You can't dedicate proper time to what you're doing. So fishing with subscribers um, is just about fishing with subscribers, not about actually catching fish or making the video. So would I fish with subscribers? Maybe as like an event eventually. But as a general practice, no, I don't generally do that. Snakehead are like bowfin on roids. Yes, they are. Amazing. Do a collab with 618 Fishing. I would. Collabs are hard to do, guys. Like, we don't know each other. It's not like there's like a YouTube fisherman's convention where we all go hang out. So, like, yes, I would love to do collabs with a lot of these channels, but I mean, setting up the I think he lives up north somewhere. I don't even know where he's based out of. Based on what he catches, I think he's up north somewhere. I would love to do a collab with him. He's great. But move us away from the AC. There you go. Turn it down. What was I saying? 618. Yeah. Collabs are a lot of work. I have a there's a particular collab I want to do with a certain person, and I'm trying to figure out how to make it happen. It would be a huge deal if I got it done. I'm working on planning that right now. Hot dogs, pizza, chicken legs. Yeah, he does all kinds of weird thumbnails. Surfside Jetty Channel. I watch your stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, it's everybody go subscribe. Surfside Jetty Channel. Subscribe to that channel. Good stuff. Yeah, watch what guys like 618 do. And then watch non-fishing YouTubers. That's one of the things I learned early on. Generally speaking, fishing YouTubers suck at marketing themselves. They are not good at it because they market specifically to other fishermen. And if you think about any successful brand, take Nike for example, and I know Nike versus fishing YouTube is not exactly the same thing, but the principle I'm going to talk about is true. Nike does not want to market shoes just to athletes. They want every person who has ever lived to wear Nikes. That is their goal. Coca-Cola wants every human being on planet Earth to be drinking. Oh, I lost connection, but we're back. Yeah, so a lot of fishing YouTubers will just try to go after other like people who watch because they're fishermen or they like fishing. I want everyone in the world to watch my stuff. That's why I title my stuff like, what happens if you fish in a place like this? Because I want the average person to stop and be like, wait, what? There's fish in a place like that? Things like that. Opinion on rays. I love stingrays. A lot of people hate catching them. I love catching stingrays. Thresher fishing. He's very talented. Do I ever get tired of fishing? Yes. That's a good question because a lot of people don't consider that. I do. I get so tired of fishing. And then I have days like today or yesterday where I'm catching fish that are new and exciting and I get, like amped up and I'm like, oh, it's so exciting. But in general, the moment anything becomes your job, it's your job. And yeah, I get tired of fishing. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to do more hunting stuff or just straight up food stuff that isn't hunting or fishing related on the other channel. I want to get that channel monetized so I can do stuff and make money without having to go fishing all the time because I'm so tired. Yeah, I do get tired of fishing. It happens. I love your gar fishing. Thank you. Channel catfish, flathead, catfish, and bass in the Missouri come fish. That would be cool. Where am I at? What is my target species? I'm near the Fort Lauderdale area. I have several target species. I've caught several of them already. I have a couple more to go. I don't want to say exactly what I'm after because then I'll take some of the anticipation out of the video when I upload it. If I say it here, you know, I don't know how many people are on this thing at the moment, or who will go back and watch it. But let's say, I think there's like 35, 36 people on it right now. You know, if I say, this is what I caught today, and this is where I caught it, and then I upload a video and you know that's what I'm talking about, you may not be so inclined to click on it right away because you already know what it's going to be. That curiosity gap isn't there. Remember, I talked about the first thing a thumbnail and a title should do, apart from make you stop scrolling, is ask a question in your head about it. I like to keep those questions available. Keep it a surprise. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, the name of my other channel, it's Wildlife's Outdoor Cooking. I'm going to rename it to something a little bit simpler. A subscriber, one of you guys, suggested to keep it a little more simple than that. I think you're exactly correct. So we're going to shorten it down. I just got to think of something simple and catchy. Take a noob fishing. Take a noob at fishing. I did that. I actually went fishing the first time I was in the Houston Chronicle for fishing. I went fishing with a reporter, his friend, and his two kids who were new at fishing. That's an old video, but it's up. When am I coming back to gar fishing again in Houston? As soon as the temperature levels out. I mean, alligator gar are kind of the signature fish of the show. Originally, I wanted it to be carp, and I still kind of wish it was, honestly. Carp, I love them so much. But I've kind of just accepted the role that alligator gar are going to be the signature animal on this show. So as soon as the weather is up, we'll go after them again. Favorite crocodile hunter episode? Oh my goodness, let me think about that, because there is a correct answer to that. There's a couple in particular that stand out, but the one that I remember the most and has had the biggest impact on me there was this crocodile hunter episode that was kind of like a compilation video that was meant to serve as like a mini biography of Steve Irwin. And of course this was made like in the mid 90s when he was at his peak, and that's when I watched it. You know, sometimes it's hard to remember. Steve Irwin died like, how many years ago was it? A long time. It was over 15 years ago, maybe more. But you know, I'm 33. Like in my early mid 30s, something like that. I'm 33 years old. I was born in '89, so I grew up watching Steve Irwin in his prime, and I watched this VHS cassette tape. I remember exactly where I was. I was in my mother's bedroom on the floor, and the TV was on the floor as well. And I watched this VHS cassette tape of Steve Irwin and like all of his like biggest moments and things like that. And the end of that video, he gives a speech that is probably, at this point, I'd have to say that, and there's that speech that he gives, and then there's a thing that Bruce Lee said, and those two things have become the most influential things in my entire life. And Steve Irwin gave what I call the "Come with Me" speech, and he talks about changing the meta, what is normal, what is to be expected from a wildlife conservation television program. And he talks about the history of conservation programming. Basically, you could sum up by looking at wildlife through the long lens. And then he would say, nah, come with me. And he was talking about a more direct connection between the viewer and the wildlife that he was acting as a medium to inspire you to protect. Incredible speech right off the cuff that he just did in that interview. One of the most impassioned moments I've ever seen from a person about anything. And specifically watching that on the floor, I was 6 years old at the time. That was the exact moment. I know this sounds silly, like, oh no, you didn't really say that. Now I did. That was the exact moment I decided what I was going to do as an adult when I grew up someday. Is I was going to talk about animals on TV or in front of a camera. I'm not on TV. I've been on TV before, even before the viral stuff. Like I've done animal presentations that ended up on TV for when I was working at the Houston Zoo. But I have always known I wanted to talk about animals and wildlife conservation on camera to an audience. That has always been what I wanted to do. And that is what I do. And that Steve Irwin video specifically is why I do it. Have I ever caught smallmouth? Yes, I went to Colorado, and I know you don't have to go all the way to Colorado to catch them, but I was in Colorado just on a family trip, and I knew they were really good in a river that was near where we were staying, so I went out there and caught some smallmouth. I didn't eat any of them. Oh, you're not saying that you ate them. You just said they're your favorite fish. Yeah, man, pound for pound, one of the hardest fighting fish I've ever caught. I'd have to say snakehead, do them in. Snakehead are probably the hardest fighting fish. I glanced over this way because there's a canal right there that I was just fishing in where there's snakehead. But smallmouth are right there. There's a ridiculous amount of green sunfish and bluegills at Houston Baptist University. I don't know where that is, but I could just Google search it. They aren't tiny either, and they're so aggressive that they bite bare hooks. When you say they're at Houston Baptist University, like in a pond? Like, is there a pond there? I'll check that out. Am I a fan of country music? Are you a fan of country music? Texas country is top tier. The short answer to that is no. The long answer to that is no, I am definitely not. Just personal taste. Go to fish with the fishing... Oh, with Carl from... Fishing with Carl for the Wells catfish. Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. I think he was in... You were in intermediate school when he passed, and you're 30 now. Yeah, sounds about right. I think it was 2005, if I'm not mistaken. I think he passed away in 2005. Steve Irwin. Do you ever go fishing for brook trout? I've only been fishing for, the classic freshwater trout when I've been in Colorado. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I don't like Colorado. Like, I mean, the fishing is great, but just the cities in Colorado, I don't like being at altitude. I have not enjoyed being on those vacations. I mean, the city themselves, the people I was with, my family, I love being with my family. The place we were staying was great. The fishing was great. Just not a huge fan of Colorado, so it would take a lot to get me to go back. But when I was there, yes, I caught some rainbow trout. I tried to catch brown trout, and they looked at me and they said, no, go away. Incredibly frustrating. Beautiful brown trout right in front of me. Wasn't having it. I don't have the skill necessary for those species to make that work. I would love to catch brook trout, but it would be a bit of a trip to find a place to do it. I'd probably hire a guide, honestly. Oh, my arm's getting tired from holding the camera up. Ever thought of visiting New Zealand? Yes. I mean, travel to New Zealand is, from what I understand, incredibly difficult to accomplish. But yes, I would love to fish in New Zealand. Australia is my dream. Just in general, I've wanted to live in Australia for years. Like, genuinely, I would love to move out of the States and live in Australia. Probably not going to happen, just because, I'm a married man, so, you've got a lot more to consider when you're married than when you're single about big life decisions like that. But I would love to pack up and go live in Australia. 2 ponds. God, I swear, every other car out here sounds like a rocket, or the backfire on it makes it sound like you're in a drive-by. How many individual species of fish have you caught? Hooks, nets, etc. I would have to spend a lot of time counting. There's a lot. I don't know off the top of my head. Try fly fishing? I will. I actually just bought myself a brand new fly rod. I have it with me. It's in a rod case back there somewhere. I haven't had a chance to use it here yet. But yeah, I bought a fly rod to use, so I will be doing that. Probably for Red Drum for the Catch and Cook channel. We have a great trout river near my house here in New Zealand. 10-pound rainbow. Ooh, and brown trout. Man, that's amazing. Good Lord. How do you handle trespass? How do I handle trespass fishing when you're approached? Do you mean like approached by security and stuff like that? Well, generally speaking, the places I go to, like the abandoned sites and stuff that I fish in, are not places that are monitored by security. The one or two times I have gone to places like that, if I'm just being honest, I used to work in security, so I do a whole lot of research on what company is running security for that area, and I know a little bit about these different companies and how they operate, and I start putting two and two together, and I start figuring out how they're going to be patrolling that area, and I base my plans off of that. So I don't do that very much. I've done that like once or twice in the past, but yeah, so I've never been approached because I'm good like that. Upper Nebraska and South Dakota. Pike. Yes! Pike. I would love to catch a pike. I want to catch pike so bad. In fact, as far as American fish go, the sturgeon is kind of the number one on my list right now. I'm trying to do some work with there's a tackle company that I connected with recently. And I'm trying to work with them on trying to set up a trip for sturgeon. But the other fish I want to catch so bad is pike. Would love to catch pike. How much do I weigh? I don't know. My weight fluctuates a lot. I mean, I could sweat out like 20 pounds just fishing in a day. Thumb up the video. Thank you. There's also a park off of 290. I mean, you're just giving all your spots away. Oh, January rainbow trout stocking. You can get the list off the Texas Parks and Wildlife website of all the ponds that'll be stocked with trout. Any plans to fish Lake Conroe or Livingston? Conroe, I think. It was either Conroe or Lake Houston. One of those. There's a guy that does it's like striped bass or hybrid bass charters. I wanted to do one of those. Do you have deep Texas roots? Well, I was born in Houston. I grew up in Angleton, and now I live in Sugar Land. So I guess, I mean, I love the wildlife of Texas, and I love the city of Houston. I'm not particularly attached to Texas as a state, but I love the city I live in, yes, and I love the wildlife of Texas. But like I said earlier, guys, I'm not kidding. If I had the freedom to do it, I would not live in America at all. I would live in Australia. I want to live in Australia. Virtually everything about Australia just appeals to me so much. There's sturgeon in Yankton. It looks like an autocorrect, so I'm not exactly sure the name of the place you're saying. Huh? Maybe I will go to Nebraska if I can catch sturgeon. Oh, you know, one place I've always wanted to go is the Seattle area, like the Seattle, Washington, or Oregon. Would love to go up that way, and they have good sturgeon there too. There's this guy, I follow him on Instagram. I don't think he has a YouTube channel, but man, he's one of my favorite fishermen to watch. Anytime he posts anything, I tune into it. And his username on Instagram is DeSniper, and I believe he is French, and he bank fishes for sturgeon, and I think he's in the Oregon or Ohio area. I can't remember. Not Ohio. What am I thinking? I think I just meant to say Oregon. I'm not exactly sure where he's based out of, but he does the most amazing bank fishing for sturgeon. That guy is so talented. He reminds me of the guys who do like the Euro style bank fishing for like trophy sized carp in France. Like, he reminds me of one of those guys. He's great. What is my favorite memory of working at the zoo? Oh my god, there's so many. I worked at the zoo for just under a decade. I did a variety of things for the zoo. Um, you know, primarily working, as a member of an education department. And then I also did a stint in their safety department. So I have seen a bizarre amount of bizarre things working for the zoo. A couple of standouts, because there's too many. I could probably do the whole live stream on just this. Literally, I got hired, just for some context. I'm strapped up. I don't know why I'm strapped up. I'm strapped up this whole time. I was hired by the Houston Zoo May 20th, 2011. And I remember that day specifically because I had a friend whose birthday was on that day, who I had just seen the day before. And the irony is, I had a crush on that friend at the time. This is a long time ago. I think I was like 20 years old at the time. And that never went anywhere because that was like a long distance thing. And here's what's funny. So I saw her the day before, and then the next day I remember was her birthday because we were all really close friends, like their whole family, my whole family. And the very first day I got hired to work at the zoo, I walked in, was met by the person who was going to give me like this introductory tour, and the first person he introduces me to, like 7 years later, is my wife. I'm not even kidding. It's amazing. The guy, I remember his name too. I don't think he didn't work there very much longer after when I met him, because that's the thing about zoos and aquariums. You got to go where the work is. So people, they have specialties, especially if they're animal keepers specifically. You have to go where the jobs are. So a lot of the times people will move between zoos. His name was Damien. He was an elephant keeper. And he was going to show me. He showed me around the entire zoo when he hired me. I don't think the zoo does that anymore, but they used to call them buddy tours, and they were really interesting because you could get a lot of insight from people that worked at the zoo. And the interesting thing is, and this is probably why they stopped doing it, whoever your buddy tour was with, that person's personality and viewpoint of different parts of the zoo would be the first thing that started to shape your personality and viewpoints of different parts of the zoo. Because you could tell very easily who liked who and who didn't, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I met up with him behind the scenes, and the very, very first person that he's like, oh, this is Kelly. Kelly's my wife. I knew my wife in a professional capacity for years and years before we ever started dating. And it was just the jobs that we had went different ways. And then we ended up having to work the same event. Like it was like a recurring event that we had to work over and over and over again. And that's when I started to kind of get to know her a little bit better. And that's when we started dating. So yeah, I met my wife, the woman who I would eventually marry, on my first day at the zoo, before I ever had any idea that I would marry her, which was incredible. So that's got to be the most memorable part about working for the zoo, is meeting my wife there. She still works there, by the way. She's been there well over a decade. She's basically runs, not from like a managerial standpoint, like there's an actual VP and director of their education department, but as far as the logistical aspects of that department go, she kind of like has it down. There was that. Just being able to teach education programs to a variety of, you meet so many different types of people. I know there's more comments and questions, guys, but you just struck a chord here with me asking about the zoo. Being able to talk to thousands and thousands of people and inspire people and ignite the spark of curiosity within people to learn more about protecting wild animals and become involved in conservation. Incredible. And then specific things, I got to assist with a surgery on a chimpanzee, which is one of the most incredible experiences of my entire life. Their hair feels like little wires, and their muscles feel like iron. Like unbelievably, incredibly powerful animals. So I had to help with a surgery with a chimpanzee. I've met famous people. I've met legendary people. So I met Simone Biles when I was there for a tour that I did. I met Chuck Yeager. I gave a private tour to Chuck Yeager, and I have a letter from Chuck Yeager's family thanking me for the tour. If you don't know who Chuck Yeager is, he was the first man to break the sound barrier. He was a huge part of the space race. And if you watch the movie The Right Stuff, who is the actor that plays him? Sam Shepard. Sam Shepard plays Chuck Yeager. I met the real Chuck Yeager, and it was one of the coolest experiences of my entire life, being a science enthusiast, and then you get to meet one of the most influential people in the field, in an entire field of science. Incredible. He was actually there for heart surgery at the time. I mean, the guy was, one of the most important figures in the space race. He's very old, and Houston has the best heart surgeons in the world, so he was there for that. But I was allowed to give him private tours. So cool. So yeah, Simone Biles, Chuck Yeager, doing, helping with medical procedures with animals, being able to like be up close and personal to help take. I've done like crossover training with different departments where you get to care for different animals. Some of the crazy stuff that I dealt with in the safety department, just some of the stories, just people don't believe me when I tell them about it, but it's crazy stuff. Everything from like, life-threatening injuries that I've had to assist like medical staff, or like, paramedics with to like keep people from dying, stuff like that, security stuff. We had one guy try to break into like our donor gala, which is like when we have like millionaires like the McGoverns come to the zoo to bid $1 million to name a giraffe or something like that. And then like we had this like guy break into the zoo. The whole zoo is closed except for like one pavilion where this event is going on, and you have like the richest people in Houston all contributing to like this incredible cause of conservation. And this guy breaks in, he has just a pair of shorts on and that's it, no shirt, no shoes, and he is running around in circles trying to get past us because he wants to go to the gala. That is what he says, which is interesting because how did he know there was a gala? Because only the in crowd knows about that, when it's happening. It's a very specific event. Like, how does this weird, crazy guy know about it? And we had to corral that guy. And every time it was me and it was my director of safety, who's like he has like a special forces background, something crazy like that. And like a couple of the other guys were like making like a circle around him, trying to like back him up out of the zoo while the police are coming. Because the police, God, oh my God. Sometimes they respond when they want to, and they don't respond when they don't want to. A lot of stories about that. I once had a guy threaten an active shooting on me, because I was telling him something he didn't want to hear, security related. I wasn't letting him have his way, and he threatened to come back and shoot up the place. And he specifically said he was going to come after the school kids. And we called the police, and the police literally were like, hey man, we don't really have a lot of officers in that area right now. It's like, okay, glad to know where your priorities are. But yeah, the police weren't showing up, and we were all like semicircling around this guy, shoving him out of the zoo. And every time he would start to like back up because he was getting intimidated, he'd be like, don't touch me, bro. I wouldn't touch me, bro. Don't put your hands on me, bro. Like, it was crazy. And then the cops came and like tackled him and all that. So yeah, crazy security stuff, crazy animal stuff, great animal stuff. I won't get into it too much because I still care very much about the zoo, and I don't want to like put anything out there that would be a negative image. But the word code 99 refers specifically to an animal escape or somebody getting into an animal exhibit, and I've seen a number of those happen. One time I had to form a human barrier, not for a crazy guest, but for an antelope that weighed 600 pounds and has horns about 3 feet long. And I was the only one in the circle that didn't get like a shield. And it's like, where's my shield? And they're like, we don't have enough for you. It's like, okay, well, I'll be the fastest one in this circle if something goes wrong. And then one of the guys named John just ended up tackling this thing. Like, John's crazy. John, if you're watching this, you're amazing. He's literally like one of the most well researched, well trained, well educated, and highly experienced zoo professionals I've ever met. And he just tackled the 600-pound antelope. It was insane. So yeah, crazy stuff. I could go on for hours, but I'm going to answer some other questions. In that video where you said there was a demon hunt under the bridge, was it really real? No, that they don't exist. Hauntings are not real. Let's see. Favorite fish to eat? Flounder. Idaho. Never been, but I'd love to. Do you think I'll ever catch a beluga sturgeon? Probably not a beluga sturgeon. I think those are specific to Eurasia. I think white sturgeon is in my very near future. How's he still going on? Because I don't want to sleep in my car, because it's a miserable experience, and I'm trying to put that off as long as possible. Also, I feel really bad that I haven't uploaded anything for a while, and I won't upload anything for the weekend, so I want to give you guys some time and attention here. What did I do most as a kid? Catch snakes. Would you ever fish with one of your fans from Houston? Maybe, but there's a lot of planning and a lot of work that goes into scheduling those times, and then who would it be and all that. Honestly, if you want to go fishing with me, every month or so, or every couple of months, just depending, I do Patreon fishing days. I know I've mentioned the Patreon a few times on here, but I invite, if you're on my Patreon, you are invited to do these fishing days where we will all meet up and target different fish. And we've gone out to Surfside a couple of times, amazing red fishing in one of my videos, and the videos we filmed together all end up posted to the Patreon. So yeah, if you want to fish with me, the easiest way to do that is join the Patreon. Let's see. Bug in my face. Call the cops and order a pizza, and the pizza will get there first. Yeah. Yeah, generally speaking, it will. Yeah, John is cool. His name is John Register. And John Register, over the years, I watched John Register go from being a hoofstock, like, what was it, supervisor. Hoofstock, generally speaking, zoos are divided based upon categories of animals, and the meta has kind of shifted from animals being housed in units based upon whether the animals are related. Like, so all your antelopes are over here, and all your reptiles are specifically over here, and then you have all your big cats over here. And what you're going to see more and more commonly is animals being housed in units based upon the zones in which they would live in the wild. But he was a hoofstock supervisor for a long time, and now, 15 years later, since I first met him, I can't remember his official title, but he is like one of the general curators of the zoo. And the Houston Zoo is one of the largest zoos in America. If you're not aware of the status of the Houston Zoo, it is a big deal in the zoo world. And he is one of the head curators within the zoo now. So he is legitimately one of the most highly trained professional people I've ever met. What is my favorite exhibit at the zoo? Honestly, when I stopped working at the zoo, it was a few years ago, they've changed so much, I'd have to go back. If you're asking me from, like, nostalgic points of view, even for stuff that may not be there anymore, let me think about that. There's a couple of different places I like for different reasons. I love the cheetah exhibit, not because it's a particularly great exhibit. That's one of the areas that they've talked about redoing so many times over the years. That's very common. There's a lot of plans to redo exhibits, but the money that gets donated is allocated specifically for certain things, so the money goes here, not there. But the cheetah exhibit has a personal meaning, because I really honed my craft as an educator, as a presenter, a wildlife presenter, in front of that exhibit specifically for like a year straight. I focused on the way I would educate specifically to that exhibit and those animals, because they're very unpredictable. They're very hard to show a crowd. That exhibit is not very well designed in terms of viewership. And if you're going to give the most perfect wildlife presentation to just spark that interest in your audience and just give them the most amazing experience, if you could do it there, you could do it anywhere in the zoo. So I really used that as a way to sharpen myself as an educator. So the cheetah exhibit is special to me for that reason. Spent a lot of time around the giraffes later on. One of the things I would do as a small part of my job is I would do like giraffe feedings with people. So I love the giraffe. Giraffes are derpy. They're like derpy. If you could have like a derpy horse, that's what a giraffe is. What inspired me to start YouTube? Love of wildlife conservation and the want to talk about it with a little more freedom. Just basically being able to design my own method and talking points for conservation-based topics, and because I wanted to be on TV my entire life, so I instead of trying to get into the TV business, the more modern approach. How to join the Patreon. In every single video I post, look at the description. So click on the description and you will find the link to the Patreon in the description of every single one of my videos. Once you click on that link, it'll give you well, actually, you know what? It used to give you options for what tier you wanted, because Patreon has tiers. I'm trying to consolidate the tiers. So if you see tiers that are like, the only one you need to join is the $5 tier. $5 tier gives you every single thing on my entire Patreon. No questions asked. All of it's there. I used to have different prices, and I'm trying to get rid of the different prices. The problem is you can't delete a category if there's still people in it. So I've been trying to tell everyone in my other categories to just join the smaller one. $5 is a lot more reasonable for what I do. And I do a lot. I honestly consider my Patreon to be one of the better ones out there. It's only $5. You get extra videos. You get to join the Patreon fishing days. You get the fishing spot highlights. That's where I do the essays and like photo essays on the fishing spots I go to and how to fish them. The behind the scenes videos, which is oftentimes just stuff going wrong or me at home getting things ready or talking about random stuff. Click on that link, join the $5 tier. It's all there. Let's see. God, there's this little... Do you guys see this little bug on camera? There's this little bug. It just keeps flying in front of my face. And it's like, when something's like real close to your face, you can't exactly pinpoint where it is. That keeps happening. If I had to pick a Houston Zoo exhibit for nostalgia, it would be back from when they had Nile. Oh yeah, the hippo exhibit. Man, I remember that. Yeah. They had the pygmy hippos, which interestingly is an exhibit that returned to the Houston Zoo recently. But yeah, I remember that one. Yes, $5 a month. That is correct. Patreon, you sign up, it's $5 a month. You can cancel anytime, but I continuously post information on there. So yeah, $5 a month for the Patreon page. All right, what time is it? 10:30. My God, we've been doing this for 3 hours. Whew. Did the zoo have fish? Yes. So, the aquarium, I believe the Kip Aquarium, what was the name of it, was closed recently, which is a shame because of all the people in the zoo, there are certain people in the zoo that have like a higher level of training and experience and expertise, who are nationally recognized for their level of expertise than others. Everyone there is a seasoned professional, but some people are known around the country. Like, they're like, for example, Daryl Hoffman is our big mammal guy. I say our. I will always refer to the zoo that way. It's just in my blood. Daryl Hoffman was the zoo's big mammal guy. I think he's a curator of big mammals, but he is known nationally as being one of the foremost authorities on elephants in the world. And George Brandy was the curator of the aquarium, and he is known the same way in the ichthyology community, the aquarium community within zoos and aquariums. Unfortunately, the Kip Aquarium had to close just due to logistical reasons. There's still fish though in the Natural Encounters building. If you go in there, there's a section where they had an electric eel, and they had a couple of spotted rays, like Potamotraga matoro, I believe is the Latin name for the rays they have, the spotted rays. And then they have the archer fish and the four-eyed fish. And then I can't remember if they moved pacus over there or not. Piranhas, there's some red-bellied piranhas. So yeah. And then, oh yeah, I almost forgot. They opened up this new exhibit called the Texas Wetland Exhibit, and there's fish in there, and there's gar in there now, actually. I'm really happy about that. So there's actually gar at the zoo now, and then of course there's very famously an alligator gar about 5 feet long. People claim it's bigger, but it's not. About 5 feet long in the lion exhibit in the moat. And if you watch it long enough, you'll see it come up. Hey Wildlife, hello. Thanks for the live. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. If you join the Patreon and you went to an event but you don't have the proper rods and reels, how would you be able to fish? I bring all my stuff and I let you guys have at it. So when we do the Patreon fishing days, my goal is that everyone that goes out there gets to catch fish. I focus on filming everyone else or assisting anyone who's like new to fishing. A lot of my patrons are very seasoned fishermen. But if you join and you go out to the Patreon fishing day and you don't have the gear, I bring my gear and I let whoever wants to use it, use it. Thanks for recommending White Tiger MMA again. Absolutely. My man, Morgan, he's the man. White Tiger Kickboxing in Sugar Land. It's amazing Muay Thai school. He trains a lot of great fighters. Mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, it's where it's at. It's primarily centered around Muay Thai. Incredible. How is my back? And have you been able to train with the injury? The back is getting better, but it still hurts a little bit. I still have limited amounts of movement. I've got like a patch on it right now to kind of loosen up the muscles in my back at the moment because it hurts. Have I been able to train? Yes, very carefully. My coach and I worked out that I can jab really well still from a low stance. I can throw a left hook and an uppercut. So basically I'm just working with my left hand and just guarding with my right. And we've been doing a variety of combinations with those. And a lot of the training that we're doing right now is just mobility exercises to help rehab my injury. Yes, there's an alligator gar in the lion exhibit. I wish they would get it out, honestly, and move it over to the Texas Wetland exhibit, but it'd kind of be a hassle to get it out. So it'll probably be there for a long time. Let's see. Any more collabs with Buffalo Bayou Fishing Champs? Probably. He's taking a bit of a break from the guide work right now, but I have some video ideas that he said he would help me with. So yeah, we'll probably get back to doing that in a little bit. What do I think about Islam Makhachev? Overrated fighter or legit? Oh, you cannot say he's overrated right now. When he beat Bobby Green on short notice, like it was clear that he was good, but how good is the question. No, he beat Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is one of the best lightweights that has ever lived. Islam Makhachev is the best lightweight in the world right now. He is 100% legit. Islam is going to lose badly next year. Maybe not. I mean, he's good. He's real good. I think Oliveira could still beat him. I mean, given a rematch, if he adjusted his game plan a bit, he could still win. The guy right now who I think poses the biggest problem is the guy he's going to fight, Alexander Volkanovski, who I think is the best fighter alive right now. But as far as lightweight goes, because here's the thing about cross-divisional fights, it's a massive size discrepancy, which specifically favors the grappling-centered fighter. So there is that to consider when you're talking about Volkanovski versus Makhachev. But the guy at lightweight who I think gives him the most trouble is, oh, what's his face? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, I've forgotten. The guy who just beat Mateusz Gamrot. Let's see. I don't see the rabbits at the zoo anymore. Did y'all catch them all? Well, it's been a long time since I've been there. They probably come out at night still. Have I ever have I ever toured the Sea Center in Lake Jackson? Yes, I have. Interesting thing, my sister works for Texas Parks and Wildlife. She has an actual, I know you guys think of me as being like the fish guy, but my sister actually has like a degree in like fisheries science, and is like working on her master's in that field. And she actually works for Texas Parks and Wildlife and basically runs the Sea Center's education program, or their department. So yeah, my sister works there. How did the alligator guard get in there, and are they feeding it? So that is an amazing self-sustaining ecosystem. If you go there, just take a moment and don't look at the lion. Well, look at the lions, but then look at the water, and you'll notice loads of bluegill and little tilapia and stuff. It's like this incredible self-regulating environment, and that alligator guard fits right in there. How it got in, it was probably put in there as like a decorative piece years and years ago, and it was little. Just as one of the many fish to be seen by viewers, and it's just surviving and thriving, doing quite well. The lions get really interested in it sometimes. They'll watch it real intently, and they'll try to get closer to it, and then it just swims away. Yeah, the zoo would never let me film in the zoo, and rightly so. I am pretty good friends with the PR director at the zoo. Jackie Wallace is her name. She was incredibly helpful to me for my career in my endeavors post the zoo. So I like Jackie quite a lot. But Jackie would not let me film in the zoo, I guarantee it. Do I like to watch boxing fights or only MMA? Both, but preferably MMA. What's up, Peyton? Hey, what's up? Hope you have a great 2023 and New Year. Thank you. You too. Let's see. Is that the same for the white tiger exhibit, or are they connected? Well, the white tiger exhibit doesn't exist anymore. So the area that used to have white tigers at the zoo doesn't have white tigers at the zoo anymore. It doesn't exist at all. The tigers they have there now are they Malayan tigers? I can't remember. It's been so long. They're not Bengal. They're not Amur. The Indo-Chinese tiger, it was declassified as a species because I believe they're just an extension. I think it's Malaysian tiger, I think. But yeah, no, the white tigers that they used to have, they don't have anymore. That whole exhibit's gone. Have you ever been to the underground cistern at Buffalo Bayou Park? No, but I've had a couple of people recommend that I go check it out, and I should do that. I've never noticed from your videos, but what do you prefer, freshwater fishing or saltwater? Freshwater. I love saltwater fishing, but freshwater is where it's at for me. Oh, does the body of water in the tiger exhibit have fish? Not if it does, not the same way. It's not nearly as heavily populated as the lion exhibit. Lots of requests to meet up and fish sometime. We'll definitely try to make it happen, guys. Just a lot of logistical stuff that goes into that. Join the Patreon. Join a Patreon fishing day. All right. Well, my battery on my phone is not keeping pace with the charger for some reason. So I've just checked the battery and we're like getting pretty darn low. And I've been doing this live stream for 3.5 hours. What is today? Wednesday? I might try to do another one of these later on because this was a lot of fun. But I think I am wrapping it up. If there's a question I didn't get to, maybe I'll do it for the last one. Or the next one, I'm sorry. But I think for now, I will catch you guys later. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but it's starting to go. And I still have a video to film tomorrow, so I need it to be, I need to be able to talk. Good to talk to everyone. I'm going to get out of here for now. Tight lines, and I'll catch you guys later.